emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
At AXA, blocked drains and burst pipes don't worry us. And the kids? Well, let them be kids. From the little accidents to life's bigger problems, these things happen. But with AXA Home Insurance, our 24/7 emergency home assistance will have a fully qualified tradesperson with you quick. Together, we've got this. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
At CS Architectural Salvage, you'll find reclaimed white plank floorboards, polished beams, pine and oak beams sawn to customers' requirements, and waxed finish, Belfast street lamps and garden furniture. CS Architectural Salvage, Campsie Industrial Estate, Eglinton. Call 04871 812 999.
Oh, it's just turned 9 o'clock. Good morning to you, Greg. Just a couple of wee requests here. Happy birthday to Susan Martin and Fanad from Darren, Emma and Connor. Hope you have the bestest day. And one more and I'll let you loose then, Greg. Let's see. Morning, Lee. Can you say hello and remind Greg to say hello to the boys and girls on John's bus? And they're going to school in Cashel and Barry.
I know these children.
Yes, Ballyheron this morning as they listen to you both every morning. There you go.
Well, that's not the full story, actually, you see, because they listen to you, right?
Thank you.
That's fine. John has the bus on.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Radio on. I come on. Turns it down.
All right. See.
Up from the back of the bus comes a voice. John!
Turn her up!
Turn her up! And he goes, you don't listen to Greg Hughes. Yes, we do every day. And me granny watches him on the telly.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So thank you, John.
So never judge a book by the cover.
Yeah.
My listeners range from 4 upwards.
Yeah. So, very good.
Right, John, get your fingers off the radio dial. Where are they from again?
Was it Ballyheron, right? That's down in Fanad, isn't it? And where Cashel? Where's Cashel again?
In the same area.
Same good
travel
spot.
Too far in the
good
bus.
Part of the country. Come here, just very quickly because news is late, right? You were on the money with the Eurovision. You know, you did your predictions about an hour before.
I did.
And I was looking at
Switzerland was the curveball. I didn't.
How does every country how does every country jump on the Switzerland bandwagon?
That's the judges. So,
but did they be talking?
It was a good song.
No, but it's all right. But there's other good songs as well. I know I played it this morning because the one, right? But listen to me. Did you think these countries be chatting to themselves?
Is anything not rigged in this day and age?
I'm not saying it's rigged, but you know what I mean? It was Switzerland. How can they all be thinking
because
Switzerland?
Because they all thought it was the best song.
Out of 25 songs. Every country thought it was.
You could disregard 20 of them, right? So there's a top 6 or 7.
Right, okay.
That obviously are good songs. And then there's other ones that are a bit fun.
Yeah.
So the audience, they didn't want to go down the fun route this year.
Right.
Anyway, did you see the Northern Lights?
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
I didn't see them. Did you see them?
No, I was asleep.
Come here. You talked about this before. We could chat again about this, but the Northern Lights, you need a special filter or something on your camera, do you?
Well, this time, no. This time, actually, you could see them with your bare eye.
Oh, I missed that then.
Often the pictures that you see aren't actually the Northern Lights. Like, there would have been people standing looking northwards and, the sky would look a bit purple. They get the phone out and it looks like it's on fire. But I don't want to sound like a miserable old F at this time of the morning.
Yes.
But then the football was on.
Yeah, that was
the Old Firm Derby was on. There was boxing in the middle of the night. The Eurovision seems about 17 days away. Gone.
I know. Anyway, I better let you go. Can we have a great show, right? It's going to be busy.
Yes, it is going to be a very busy one. Thanks, Leo.
Pleasure.
Take care of yourself. That's Lee Gooch there. Apologies to everyone waiting for the news, but there's just quite a bit to get through there. It's at 9:03, and I'm going to cross over now to the wonderful Donna Marie Doherty at the news desk.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Vintners Federation of Ireland is calling for urgent support from government amidst ongoing challenges facing the sector. It's been revealed that 37% of publicans are considering retirement in the next 2 years. A recent survey carried out by the organisation shows that 36% of turnover is currently consumed by labour costs, with that figure set to increase to over 40% with the introduction of the living wage. The Vintners Federation of Ireland will hold its national AGM in Donegal tomorrow night. Treasurer of the Donegal branch of the VFI and Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council, Councillor Martin Harley, says VAT and excise duty must be reduced in order to ensure the survival of small businesses.
And suppose the vintners have called on a few things that they want the the VAT rate put back it went up to 23% as to bring in into the country after the 2008 crisis, and they've asked for the VAT rate of 13.5% on foods to come back down again to 9%. So these are two of the things that they looked about. So something needs to happen in the near future.
Proposals will be presented to Cabinet this week to cut the level of welfare supports given to asylum seekers and Ukrainian refugees. Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys says she's working with Departments of Justice and Integration and consulting with the Attorney General to ensure our international obligations are met. The Taoiseach says he wants to ensure Ireland isn't an outlier in the EU when it comes to supports. But Gary Gannon, the Social Democrat spokesperson on social protection, thinks it's a deplorable way of tackling the issue.
The Social Democrats have been very clear. We would build the reception centres. We would do an audit of all IPAS and Ukrainian-based accommodation because we don't know what space we have within that system. But the government now scrambling, making another announcement about welfare entitlements. It's just a dog whistle. And we certainly wouldn't be engaging in that sort of chaotic behaviour, the consequences of which will only fuel more suspicion of people who have every right to come here.
PSNI in Derry are appealing for witnesses to a hit and run that happened on Saturday. The collision occurred on the Strand Road at the traffic lights outside Sainsbury's at 10 to 6. It involved a black Audi Q5 and a blue Peugeot 305. Witnesses and those who have CCTV or dashcam footage is asked to make it available to police. And under 21s won't be able to buy cigarettes under planned new laws. Government ministers will be asked to sign off tomorrow on proposals to raise the legal age that people can buy cigarettes from 18 up to 21 years. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly is also drafting new laws to completely outlaw the sale of disposable vapes and limit the flavours of e-cigarettes available. Looking now to weather, overall dry to begin with some sunny spells. Rain will spread from the south during the afternoon. Highest temperatures ranging from 13 to 15 degrees. That's all for now. I'll be back again at 10 o'clock.
Eurodreams is the new game from the National Lottery, where you could win €20,000 a month for the next 30 years. That's €20,000 every month for 30 years. Draws take place every Monday and Thursday, so pick up a Eurodreams ticket for your chance to win.
Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 Til Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It is just turning 7 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 13th of May 2024. How are you all keeping? How was your weekend? If you're into sport, you had a fantastic weekend, I would guess. What a result yesterday for Donegal. What a result for the team and Jim McGuinness as a manager. 29,000 odd in Clonus to watch a really exciting game. Maybe not for the throwback purists, if you know what I mean, but still such a tight game. Fair play to both teams and fair play. Donegal out on top again. Did you follow them into Donegal town yesterday, I wonder, as well, last night? Anyway, any reflections on the weekend, be it to do with sport or whatever it is? You know how to get in touch with us, don't you? It's WhatsApps and texts to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. And if you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. So a ton of stuff coming up over the next 3 hours. And if you want to watch the show, if you're at home on the smart TV or your Fire Stick, Highland Radio Ireland, give us a like and a subscribe there if you don't mind too. It is quite useful in spreading the word. We're on the X platform as well. Hundreds of you watching across X every single day. And that is Highland Radio Ireland, and on Facebook as well. Right, let's start with the sporting story, the back of the Donegal News. And Jim McGuinness was savouring the moment as Donegal won a first Ulster title for 5 years as they beat Armagh on penalties. The Donegal Banastur was delighted with the win after drawing 20 apiece after 90 minutes, but they got their win as Sean Patton saved Shane McPartland's penalty to win 6-5. And I think there was a point when obviously Shane saved it with his feet and just Sean turned to see the ball hadn't dribbled over the line. Such scenes then. That was a 6-5 win at that point. And the Glenties native was all smiles after the game. We'll have to savour this. We really have to, and get back to reality during the week and go again. You have to believe. If you don't see yourself in the depths of winter here in Clonus, there's no point being back. And maybe we'll try and get a word with Jim before the end of the show. It might be tough, but sure, look it. We try for you out there. The great listeners of Donegal and the Northwest more generally. Do you feel a wee bit for Armagh too? That's the third big penalty shootout. They've lost huge pressure. And the quality of penalty taking yesterday actually was superb. But it just went Donegal's way in the end. And now we face Tyrone, which is in the round robin stages, which is another huge test, it has to be said, especially with the extra miles on the Donegal clock. Right, the Derry News, their lead story is about the Northern Lights. Derry's skyline was lit up on Friday night in and out of this world display. The sky was awash of bright pink, purple and green as the Northern Lights appeared across Ireland due to a series of solar flares spewing from the sun's surface, sending shockwaves of magnetically charged plasma directly at the Earth. Surprisingly, I saw absolutely no pictures of that on Facebook over the weekend. You'd think with everyone having camera phones now that have taken a picture and uploaded it to the Facebook page. I didn't see any. On to the Irish Independent now. We have no more space. Demand surges for places at special schools. Hundreds of children are being left without places in special schools, which are experiencing the worst demand for places ahead of the next academic year. It means children are being left at risk of reaching secondary school without being able to read or other key skills. There's been a doubling of the number of applications for some special schools in the past year, with many reporting a significant increase in the number of children they've had to turn away. The Children's Ombudsman has raised concern about the unacceptable level of stress caused to families when children with additional needs are denied the right to education. Dr. Niall Muldoon was responding to a special investigation by The Independent that found some special schools are experiencing a greater demand for places than ever before. He said his office continues to receive complaints from parents who are having problems finding school places for children with special educational needs. And of course, we have covered that story on this programme extensively, but also too, I think it's separate but linked to that, the changed criteria as well for recognising children with additional needs. I presume that's still an issue. Let us know. 086 60 25,000. I'm going to stay with schools and hop to the Irish Daily Mail now, because primary school funding is being slashed by €16 per pupil nationally, sparking fury among parents and teachers. The Department of Education has cut the annual grant for primary schools from €96 a year per pupil to €80, totalling $7 million, just 1 year into a new free school book scheme. The scheme is regularly cited by Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin as an example of the reforming impact of his party in government. But Social Democrats TD Jennifer Whitmore said this is one of the many little cuts that are really hurting parents and schools. Education Minister Norma Foley needs to give a guarantee that parents and children won't be hit with higher bills because of this. Now, if there is a shortfall of €16 per pupil and schools are already struggling to meet the everyday needs of school, where do they go for that money? They go to the parents and guardians because they're going to be short effectively. I mean, I presume they don't have €16 per pupil nationally and locally to spare. It's hard to believe we're going backwards in terms of investing in our young people, but it would seem, according to that article, that would seem to be the case. The Irish Times now, retail and hospitality businesses could be set for a cash injection worth thousands of euros, part of a new enterprise support package being considered by the government. Now, unless I'm mistaken, the last initiative by government was to make money available to businesses in supports. There wasn't a very big uptake on that. I think this is actually that same money that wasn't drawn down before repackaged. I'm open to correction on that, but I believe that to be the case. Ministers were putting the finishing touches to the plans over the weekend, with the final package due to be approved by Cabinet tomorrow. Taoiseach Simon Harris pledged to unveil a range of supports for businesses when he took up office last month, and government sources have confirmed that a key plank of the plan will come in the form of additional grants for the hospitality and retail sector, as I say, which is to be welcomed. But I believe that is leftover funding from the €257 million scheme that was designed in such a way, clearly, that a lot of people did not draw down on it. Right, on to the Irish Star now. And migrants who arrive in this country could soon face having the cash they're paid by the state cut. The government announced yesterday that a review of payments made to migrants will be carried out within weeks. Public Expenditure Minister Paschal Donohoe made the announcement after the Taoiseach wrote about making Ireland less attractive for economic migrants. Simon Harris said he will pull levers in government departments to ensure Ireland adopts a firmer system and ensures we're not out of kilter with other EU countries. He said this will not be a long, drawn-out process. The government will take decisions on this soon. The issue is though, particularly I think the migrants that are arriving from the UK, I don't think they're motivated necessarily by money. They're motivated by not wanting to go to Rwanda. 7,000 of them have crossed the border from the north into the Republic in recent months, and I don't think cutting the money really is going to make much difference to that, and it's certainly not going to build accommodation that's required as well. I saw statistics released this morning that show that Ireland has the highest proportion of migrants in this country compared to any other country in Europe. EU figures reveal Ireland had proportionately the highest number of non-EU citizens found to be illegally present in any EU country last year. Figures published by the European Commission show the rate of legal immigration recorded in the Republic in 2023 in relation to population, so in other words, per head of population, 10 times the EU average. A total of 1,485 non-EU nationals were found to be illegally present in Ireland last year. That's up 20%. And as I say, 10 times some parts of Europe. And on it goes. You heard Lee Gooch mention the Eurovision. Eurovision star Bambi Thug has admitted the song contest has been an eye-opening experience. The Cork artist again they reference her gender, which I don't see the point of every single time. We are not surely where our most distinguishing characteristic is our pronouns. It seems to be the case because every single time. I have no issue with that, by the way. It's just there must be a more inventive way to describe Bambi Thug. The Cork artist came sixth in the final of the competition on Saturday night, which was Switzerland's Nemo. He claimed the top spot. Although I think he's non-binary also. Yesterday morning, Bambi, 31, flew back to London, but told fans on social media the politically charged competition was eye-opening. In a video on their Instagram stories recorded with a filter projecting the Palestinian flag on one cheek, they said, just a quick message today, thank you guys for all of your support throughout the process. I watched that. Many of you did, and some people watched it just to be annoyed. Some people watched it to be entertained. But I watched it on a YouTube feed, full HD on the screen, on the big screen, with no talking over it. And it was so much more enjoyable without Graham or Marty, the wisecracks or talking over the presenters or reminding us of phone lines when it's, clearly on the screen. So I actually enjoyed it much more just watching a clean feed with no waffle. Finally, on to the Sun this morning. Sad news, the first recipient of, and I read this when it happened, so I thought I'd give you an update. The first recipient of a genetically modified pig kidney transplant has died nearly 2 months after the procedure. Richard Slayman was 62. He had the transplant at Massachusetts General Hospital in March. Surgeons believed the pig kidney would last for at least 2 years, but they said there was no indication that he died as a result of the transplant. Now, this was a gentleman that was actually very sick. He'd had transplants before and was taking other medications, what have you. So it's not clear if he died because that organ failed. But I know his family, one way or other, have said that the transplant gifted them 7 weeks of memories with him. Okay, but unfortunately, he did pass away.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Kelly's Centra and Diner, Mountaintop Letterkenny, winner of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards. The 9 Til Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Right now at Alcorns, all the plants grown with love right here are leaving to bring joy to gardeners everywhere. Alcorns are offering some of the best value around, with perennials like lupin and hollyhock 3 for €20. There's big 5-litre geraniums 2 for €20 and a super selection of bedding at 2020 prices, only at Alcorns.
Don't miss out on the big steak weekend at Kelly's Diner Letterkenny, where you can enjoy a mouth-watering steak at unbeatable prices the Saturday and Sunday from noon. 8-ounce steaks for just €11, or upgrade to a hearty 10-ounce for only €13. All steaks are cooked to your liking and served with chips, peas, mushrooms, onion rings and peppered sauce. Kelly's award-winning family diner at Mountaintop Letterkenny, where every bite is a delight.
Foy & Company and Belly Buffet in Letterkenny are the largest stockists of paint and wallpapers in the Northwest. Our qualified colour consultants and interior design team will help you create a beautiful space designed for your needs. We work with commercial and residential customers, have all the largest brands and can match any colour. We stock all the interior and exterior paint, along with all the painting accessories you'll need to completely transform your space at Foy & Company in Letterkenny and Belly Buffet.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
TFI Local Link, your local bus service keeping rural communities in Donegal connected as part of the Transport for Ireland network. For more on service arrangements, visit transportforireland.ie.
Now, Donegal County Council is to host a jobs fair in London to promote employment opportunities in Donegal. Over 11 Donegal-based businesses, with more to be confirmed, will take part in the Donegal Jobs Fair at the London Irish Centre in Camden, London next month, promoting jobs and career opportunities across several sectors, including tech, engineering, construction, maritime and healthcare. And we have 3 guests in studio to discuss this a little further. We'll say good morning first to Anne-Marie Conlon, Head of Economic Development with Donegal County Council. Anne-Marie, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks very much, Craig. Thanks
Anya McMenamin, Commercial Director of Mantis Cranes. Hi, Anya.
Morning, Craig.
And last but not least, Sarah Kinsley, HR Director with PGIM.
Good morning.
On the dodgy chair. No sudden moves, please. I'll start with you, Anne-Marie, if that's okay. Is this as obvious as it seems that, we have a lot of people originally from Donegal, or not from Donegal for that matter, working in a lot of these areas in London, and maybe they don't know that there are opportunities now here in the Northwest, and just seeing if the opportunity fits with what they want in their life?
Yeah, that's really it, Greg. We were in London back in February. We had an audience with Packy Boner and Shay Given, and we had about 340 Donegal people, if you like, in the room. And there was an overwhelming, message coming for us in that these people were looking at opportunities to come back to Donegal. Everything from people, had small kids and they wanted to raise their kids back in Donegal, or they were looking at settling down and coming back home. And it was very clear to me and to the people that were with us that we really needed to be sharing that story, that there are really good opportunities here now in Donegal, great career opportunities and great job opportunities. So that's really what the event is about, and the event is actually taking place this Thursday in the London Irish Centre. So that's why we're going, and that's what we want to do, is just to connect the two, those who are looking to maybe move back home, or to look at the options and the opportunities that they may have, as well as connecting to the jobs that are here. So it's really about getting that profile raised.
Yeah, because we can have we can have all the investment in the world, we can have all the construction, the development, the opportunities, but we actually, an important factor of any country's economy and its development is the workforce, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, we talk about the need for housing, but we need people to build houses.
Yeah, that's it.
That's one example.
Yeah, we certainly do. We need people, and I know from talking to Sarah and to Anya, the quality of the talent here in Donegal is second to none, and indeed in the wider Northwest, because we have a good population base of about, I think, 350,000 30,000 between Donegal and Derry and Tyrone, and like that's a really, really strong proposition for us. But we need more. We need the talent. We need to be growing our region. We need to be growing our county, and we need to be bringing people back as well. So we really do need to be investing, I suppose, really in the people, if you like, and bringing people back to take up the opportunities that are here.
Yeah, I mentioned Anya McMenamum. She's Commercial Director of Mantis Cranes. Tell us a little bit about the company and the work that you do, I suppose, and the opportunities that are available.
Yeah, so Greg, we have two companies down in Killigordon. We have McMenamin Engineering that does steel fabrication, and we have Mantis Cranes who supply tower cranes throughout Ireland and UK. And there's lots of different job areas that we have. We're predominantly in construction, so all things construction based. The roles that we would have would be anything from sales to design to steel detailing, down to service engineers. We also have great opportunity at the minute for middle management. We're going through a generation change at the minute, which is opening up gaps in our companies, whereby that myself and my brother need to step up. So therefore there's middle management and senior management positions coming available in the next couple of months. So we're going through a really exciting time at the minute. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And that growth is dependent on, isn't it? They're having the right team in place in the right jobs. Definitely. We're very fortunate that the team that we have is really, really, really good, strong team, but we need more. We want to develop, we want to grow. And the only way we can grow is having the team behind us. And of course, this will all be laid out. To those in attendance in London, but just for the broader audience, which is all over the place anyway. Like, I mean, obviously, there's going to be positions that require a certain skill set or whatever. But do you have opportunities for people of different sort of experience levels in this industry? Definitely. If I take Mantis Cranes, for argument's sake, 95% of our staff have never touched a crane before they come into us. And with all different walks of life come in, and we train them from the scratch. We've all of us, I knew nothing about cranes 18 years ago. So there's so much opportunity. And people, I suppose, for us, whenever they see the cranes, they probably think, well, that's not for me because I don't know anything about. But we train anybody and everybody to come in. And there's people that's come into our jobs that has never had any experience in the department they've been in either. And they've just flourished because they've been given an opportunity. So they can grow within the company. Correct. You yourself have done what we're hoping other people would do after Thursday. You were based in London, is that right? I was based in England for 12 years, moved for 6 months back in 2010, and told everybody I'll be back next year, but it never happened. But life changes happen as well. Back in 2022, I moved home, but that decision was twofold, I suppose. In a way, it was easy to move home once I made the decision to move home. Yeah. But it was very difficult to make the decision to move home. Yeah, it's funny you should describe it like that, because I think, Anne-Marie, you've been there a couple of times too when we've been over at the London Vintage Show, and it's an opportunity to speak to lots of people over there. And there's this confliction, right, where they feel really drawn to go home and miss going home, but it's figuring out how to do it. Correct. It seems to be the challenge for them. Correct. And you can have grandchildren over there and stuff, and that can complicate things. Not complicate things, but make decisions a little bit more difficult. But there is a great... I got a sense of a great desire. It's just a case of making it happen. Sarah Kinsley, tell us about Is it PGIM? PGIM, yeah. PGIM. I always go PGIM because I never have the confidence to go PGIM, but it's a PGIM, okay. Confirmed. Let's go. What is PGIM? Apparently it's a global asset management business. It is. Tell us a bit more.
We are the global asset management business of Prudential Financial, which are headquartered in the US, and we're one of the top 10 global asset managers. Here in Letterkenny, and indeed in Ireland, we've about 155 employees working across multiple PGIM businesses and supporting the Prudential business as well. So lots of variety. And recruitment, is it an issue in your business as it is in lots of businesses at the moment? I think every business is struggling with recruitment, and for lots of different reasons. So, the talent is here, and that's very evident. I think the economy has had a big impact on that. Obviously the pandemic has had a big impact on it, and the changing needs of candidates coming through the door has had a big impact as well. I wouldn't say that PGIM are struggling any more than any other company. But certainly it is a top priority to make sure that good quality talent comes.
And I think, and I'm not speaking on behalf of I'm not speaking on behalf of Anya either, but it's a conveyor belt too, isn't it? You know what I mean? Even if there's not issues now, you sort of want to be planning and talking about what might happen in 2 years or 5 years. Any successful business has to be looking to bringing the next talent through. And you're another example of a person not who came to Donegal for opportunities or for a change. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I moved to Donegal last year, relocated permanently, but that move had been on the cards for a couple of years. I get asked the question a lot what my connection to Donegal is. I don't really have a connection. My father-in-law is originally from Donegal, but he hasn't lived here for a number of years.
You're really digging deep there. That's a deep dive to get a connection.
It is a deep dive. That is the only connection we have, though. So the only explanation
we're both on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
The only explanation I can really give for the move is that we just loved Donegal. And to be honest, I didn't realise the amount of opportunity that was in Donegal. So when we moved here originally or made the plan to move, I was working remotely, which gave me the opportunity to say, right, that's it, let's go. And it was only when I got here that I realised there is huge opportunity. There's lots of industry and there's a lot that the community can offer to somebody.
I mean, obviously, Galway's a lot to offer, that Donegal has a lot to offer, right? So in terms of lifestyle change, that wouldn't have been a huge difference, or would there have been?
I would say that Donegal offers a different way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It probably depends on where you are in the county as well, but we've settled out near Cruisla, we're out in the coast, we have the mountains, we have the forest. The work-life balance part of it, the life part of it is very, very easy here. It's very nice.
And that makes the work side of it a little bit more manageable too. What will PJ be saying on Thursday? You know, what kind of people are you looking for?
It's a variety. So similar to Anya, we look for people at different levels of experience. So at the moment we have open roles from everything from summer interns to director positions. They vary across our businesses, a lot of financial, but it's not always people that have accountancy degrees, which can be a common misconception. We do have roles where people can come in, they can train up. We have a lot of opportunity for mobility within our business as well. So we'll be willing to talk to everybody and happy to get anybody's perspectives.
Yeah, and these Anne-Marie Conlon, both Anya and Sarah represent two fantastic companies, great examples of what we're talking about. But as I said in the preamble there are opportunities across a whole range of employments and services.
Yeah, there certainly are. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me to list all the companies, Greg, but I'll do my best.
I didn't.
So we have Donegal County Council's own HR team. Our team are coming from the council again, and lots of variety of jobs there, from engineering posts right through to administration posts, to planners, to general operatives. So there's quite a lot of different opportunities there. We have the HSE also actually coming along again, lots of opportunities in the social and healthcare sector. And then we have other companies such as Source Civil, which is a company based in Donegal town, and it's growing rapidly with lots of business right across the globe actually in terms of the work that they're doing. We have CETA coming, which is another multinational company based in Letterkenny. So we have a really good mix of companies, from construction to financial services to the public sector. So a whole range of different jobs and job opportunities, right from entrance level right up to senior positions as well. So lots of choice. And even if there may not be the company or the job for you on Thursday evening in the London Irish Centre, but we'll be there as a team, and we'll also be taking people's details. So we have we've built up a database of people who are interested in relocating back to Donegal. So we keep in touch, with a newsletter, say every 8 weeks or so, just in terms of connecting in with jobs that are available as well, and letting them know just different things that in terms of opportunities and options to come back and to relocate to Donegal.
And part of that is we can't ignore, the reality, because on Thursday, someone might say to you, this sounds fantastic, right? But I was reading online on the Highland Radio website or wherever that there's a real shortage of accommodation. and that rents are very high, for anything from 800 to 1200, 1300, and that's but London's not a cheap place to live in either. Is there any supports or advice or offering you can give people? I mean, some people have options already at home, right? But for those who go, realistically, can I get home and rent?
Yeah, look, housing is a challenge, there's no doubt, but as you said, the housing's probably a challenge in London and other locations as well. Look, I suppose for what we're doing is we're looking at providing people with options and with letting them know that these opportunities, these job and career opportunities are there. There are also opportunities like some vacant homes grants and derelict buildings grants. So if you do have a property, maybe parents or grandparents' property, there's an opportunity to get grants to actually help repurpose and refurbish
so
those and bring them back
€90,000
to use.
is available in a lot of those properties.
Yeah,
between the 50,000, there's a top up, and then there's an SCAA grant as well. So that brings it close. I think it's 88 something in those region. But Anya, we have the challenge here in this country in that, say, for instance, even in construction, we need more people to come into the country to help build our houses, but we really would need them to start building houses for them to live in before this. But at the end of the day, we are where we are, and we are going to have to figure out how to do this one way or other, because we can't stand still. So we are going to have to find ways to accommodate people, attract them back, get them work, get them their lives. Do you know what I mean? It has to be done anyway.
Yeah, I think that it's like everything. Once you put your mind to it, that you can make things happen. The biggest thing for me, I think, is relocating home, is making a decision, because it was on my radar for a long time that we're going to move home at some stage, but I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So once that you make the decision that you're going to move home, you make it happen. There's so many different ways and opportunities that you can get back into the country and find your accommodation, that for me personally, the biggest for me was making the decision to come home and when to come home.
Okay, so I just spoke to Anya. Anne-Marie, in terms of Thursday, the message is going out there. Hopefully, by the way, anyone living in London or working in London at the moment, or if you're indeed listening or watching yourselves, we're encouraging them to go along and attend this event. Loads of companies, over a dozen Donegal companies with opportunities ready to go, really. If you are saying, look, I wouldn't mind changing my lifestyle a little bit. London has got a very expensive place to live if you own a car. You know what I mean? It's very, very expensive just to drive around and everything else that's going on. So it's in London, the London Irish Centre, Camden. It's on Thursday, this coming Thursday. It's at 5 p.m. So hopefully people who are working will be able to get along in the evening.
Yeah, so it's on from 5 till 10, and we'll also have a few panel discussions as well, so people will be able to hear a wee bit more in depth from different companies and different agencies in terms of what's available. So there'll be 2 panel discussions. I think the first one's starting about 6:10, and then the second one will be about 7 o'clock or so. So again, it's just to give people more of an insight, and then there's an opportunity to talk one-to-one with the companies as well.
And I think it's good to, Anne-Marie, to let people know that things have changed a little bit. I've said this before, I don't want to sound like a scratch record, but obviously where there are deficits, we have to highlight them, okay? But there's an awful lot going on in our way too. The broadband infrastructure, I'm sorry if you're listening and you've been told it will be 2028, but for a lot of places, there's high-speed fibre broadband over Loch Salt, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
With great broadband infrastructure,
and the roads infrastructure, access to the west is improving. We've placed, but if someone left here 10 or 12 years ago, they might not recognise the Donegal now that they left.
Yeah, no, that's right, and that's what we're finding. And when we're talking to people in London, they may have left, as you said, about 12 years ago or 15 years ago, and it was a very different place. So the opportunities are there now, and even the flights. You have the flight to Derry. Like, we'll be in London. We're leaving on Thursday morning at 6:30. We'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So in London city centre. So look, it's it is very accessible, even from that perspective as well. So it's not that far away. But yeah, look, the broadband. We've companies working in different rural locations in Donegal, and they're saying that their broadband is actually better in Donegal than it is in Dublin city centre. So that's quite an accolade in a small town in West Donegal. So look, we do have very good infrastructure in certain regards. We have a lot of work to do in other areas, but as you say, we have to work at it and keep going.
Well,
absolutely,
the positives you have to sort of screen them out too. Sarah, anything you want to add from your perspective or a Pigeon perspective?
Yeah, so maybe just in relation to what we were speaking about with the availability of housing and how things will have changed. One other thing to keep in mind, certainly in the professional services, is the flexibility we now have at work. PGIM in particular, like many other companies, offer a lot of flexibility. So if you're looking at housing and you're saying, I can't find anything in Letterkenny, it's much more commutable now because you're doing it 2 days a week, 3 days a week. So as Anya said, make the decision. Companies will support to get good talent and to bring talent home. Companies will support where they can. So if anybody is in doubt or has concerns, I'd encourage them to come and speak to us directly.
Yeah, even reassurance. So support really in saying, right, I'm making the right decision. Because that's something you've said a few times, Anya. It's making the decision is the big challenge.
For me personally, that was the
All right,
biggest.
brilliant stuff. Anything else? If you want to add, Anne-Marie, do you want to add anything?
Just I suppose if people are looking for information on the event, just log into donegal.ie and we have a tab there for Donegal Jobs Fair. So all the information
and I can just hear now loads of mums and dads sending links and phone calls.
That's what we want.
If you're in London, get along to this event. They want them mad to get them home.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Anne-Marie Conlon, thank you very much as always. Great to see you again. Anne-Marie's from the Economic Development Unit, in fact the head of same. Sarah Kinsley, HR Director with PGIM, thanks very much. Great to learn a little bit more about the great company as well that provides so much employment up here. And last but certainly not least, Anya McMenamin, Commercial Director of Mantis Cranes, a company that's just going from strength to strength.
Yes.
Is there toilets in the cranes?
No.
Okay. It's hard to leave on that note, but it's always something I was quite interested in. Okay.
Yeah,
so
most people don't have to
there'll be
climb
some showers. Listen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Right, just to remind you one more time, that's a jobs fair in the London Irish Centre in Camden, London. It's on Thursday, this coming Thursday, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m, specifically targeting Donegal people living in London and who want to come home. Just make the call, make the decision. All right, thank you very much indeed.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 Til Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
June 7th is polling day. On that day, you'll be asked to vote in the European elections, the local elections, and, if you're registered in Limerick, in the election of Limerick's new mayor. You'll find the information you need on all the votes taking place at electoralcommission.ie. Your vote is your voice, so don't let others speak for you. Be a voter on June 7th. From An Comisiún Tábhácáin, Ireland's independent electoral commission.
Refresh your shoe wardrobe with the latest arrivals from Green Shoes, bringing you the latest styles from top brands such as Riker, Birkenstock and Wonders. Also New Balance, Bugatti, XTA and many more. Step into style this season with Green Shoes, Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and Fulcara, or at greenshoes.com. One for all and Shop LK cards accepted.
At Vodafone, we know this is the age of new. New trends, new ideas, new tech. But don't forget the not so new, like that old smartphone tucked away in a drawer. That smartphone is really e-waste. But trade it in with Vodafone and we'll recycle and repurpose it. And even put some money back in your pocket. In with the old. Search Vodafone Trade-In or go in store today. Vodafone. Together we can.
Trade-in eligibility criteria apply. For full terms, see vodafone.ie/terms.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonahur Road, Donegal Town.
Okay, we're now joined on the programme by Mary T. Conway. How are you getting on, Mary T?
Doing well, Greg. How's yourself?
Good. How's the last few days been? Any crack?
Oh, flip me. I am still on cloud nine here. My heart is still pounding thinking about Thursday night in Belfast.
All right, talk to us. What happened? Are you a big Bruce Springsteen fan to begin with?
Yeah, well, I suppose I'm a fan going back to the early 80s. The song that we danced to was Hungry Heart, so that came out on the River album, which was 1980. But I suppose a lot of Irish got to know Bruce Springsteen through his Slaying concert in '85. Now, I was too young to go to it, but Born in the USA obviously was a huge album and one that got him a lot of traction here. So, so I'm a fan probably since the early '80s, and I've been to about... in terms of going to concerts, I've only been to about 6 or 7 concerts, so I'm not one of these people who's been to loads and loads of concerts yet.
Right, okay. So you got your tickets. You're a big fan. Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
You're at the gig. And how did you end up dancing with the boss?
Yeah, well, it's a funny story, really, Greg, because I nearly wasn't at the concert because I wasn't well. A couple of weeks beforehand, and I was actually in hospital the week before the concert. So on my consultant's advice, he said, you need to be active and walk and things. So he said, as long as you don't go, berserk, you'll be fine. So went to the concert, got lucky enough to get accessible parking because I was worried about how I would be able to go to the, walk to the venue. Where I sat, I brought in a cushion because I couldn't stand for much of a length of time. So brought in a cushion and we got just a seat at the pit. I sat on the cushion, and we got up when I saw him coming down the side of the stage. Basically, I honestly don't know how it happened, but he made eye contact with me, and where I was standing, I was able to walk straight to him when he, I suppose, beckoned me over. So, big shock.
Was there a connection there, Mary Tate? You looked in his eyes, he looked in yours. He was drawn to you.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like such a cliche, but when he walked over, I mean, there was a sign beside me that said, make me your Courtney Cox, 40 years a fan. That was not my sign. We had nothing to do with that, but that was exactly, I'm 40 years plus a fan, and, I'm sorry for the people who were standing beside me who didn't get to meet him and dance with him. But I know I was so privileged and so blessed to be in that position because so many people would have wanted to dance with him. But yeah, basically he walked down, he made eye contact with me for whatever length of time. He stopped, he waved, and I, at this stage, well, prior to this, when he was coming down, I was frantic. I was like, so excited. But then when he actually made eye contact, it was like, okay, this is my moment. So in I stepped, and the security guard was kind enough to let me through because it was at the side of the barrier. So, and all through the dance and the song, he maintained eye contact with me, and I'm sure anybody who has met him or had a similar experience would say the same thing. It's just you. There's nobody else. He's not looking at anybody else. So that warmth and that energy is there. Yeah. And
he wouldn't have to make it. He wouldn't have to make it such a, he wouldn't have to make it such a personal experience, if you know what I mean. He could have just gone through the motions.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. And a lot of artists don't have that same connection with the audience, and I think that's what makes Bruce Springsteen so popular with his audiences. Are basically he connects with people. He has that connection. He gives the guitar picks out. He gave the organ out. So he really does, and it feels really genuine when he's there with you. It feels really, really genuine. So I mean, I was just I was on high dough, absolutely delighted.
What song did you dance to? Was it Hungry Heart or the one after that?
Hungry Heart. Okay. Hungry Heart.
Brilliant.
He came down and he met another wee girl from Craigavon, a wee girl, Farah Lavery, and her family are big Springsteen fans. They were in Kilkenny last night as well. So he gave her the guitar pick first and had photographs of her, and then he came over to our side of the stage. And I mean, you have to understand, we were at the very, very edge of the stage. Where I was, I had no view of the stage or the screens, but I was happy enough with that because I was just content that I was at the concert and hearing the music. I didn't actually need to see him, so I was able to get up when I wanted to and walk round to the front and see him. But yeah, it was just electric. And I mean, I was there with my 2 daughters and they were absolutely buzzing. Everybody around us was buzzing.
Of course,
the amount of people who gave us photographs, videos, sent messages afterwards. You know, I think being a fan of Bruce Springsteen, it's like a wee community on its own. You know, there's so many people there and they all look out for each other. And you know, the concerts that are coming up in Cork and Dublin, I mean, the fans have so much to look forward to. It's going to be fantastic.
I presume you have, but did you wash the hand much since?
No. What do you do? Like, my blue fleece, I'm just not sure what to do with that blue fleece.
No, put that in put that in a glass cabinet. There's bound to be some Bruce DNA on it.
Yeah, look, I don't need it because I was there.
Yeah.
I felt it in my heart, in my soul, in every part of my being. I know, you know, although it's like a pinch me moment, it's like, did this really happen?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Only that I see the photographs, it's like, you know, I'm not sure if I'm.
But isn't it so nice that it happened to someone whom it means so much to? If your consultant's listening, by the way, look at. Well, she took it easy otherwise. Give the woman a break. Come here, Mary T. He looks fantastic and he's still an excellent performer. That sounds patronising. I hope it doesn't. I don't mean it to be. But, you know, like, he's been around a long time, but he still is top class, isn't he?
Yeah, look, he's top class. He's at the height of his game, really. Yes, he's slowed down, but, I mean, he's 74 years of age. You know, you see some fans and hear some fans saying, oh, he's not the way he used to be. He's not going to be. He's 74. I mean, and if you think of the staying power, the E Street Band, 50 years they have been together. You know, his keyboard player has been with him since 1972, Gary Talent. You know, you have all those other members of the bands, Niels and Stevie and Max and Susie and most recently, I suppose, Jake. You know, they have been with him for so long. So what does that say about a person? He is just, he's just brilliant.
Brilliant. What a wonderful experience for you, Mary T. Thank you so much for sharing it. I really appreciate it. And as I say, what a fantastic experience for you and everyone that went to the concerts. And you're not going to any more, but I would say you'd love to see one more time before he flees the country.
I might be going to Dublin. I don't know what the crack is. I've got accommodation booked, and I'm hoping for a ticket. So good stuff. I'd love to go. I'd love to go again. But
well,
I'll never have that experience again, obviously.
No.
So that's fine.
But nothing beats being there. Okay, thank you so much, Mary T. Lovely story. Thank you.
Deadly, Greg.
All right,
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. That's Mary T. Conway there, who's a big Bruce Springsteen fan and got to dance with him. She almost wasn't there. And is it nice when everything happens for a reason and turns out for a reason? Right. A caller says, finding work in Donegal is not a problem. Finding a living wage in Donegal is the problem, indeed. But a lot of the wages and for a lot of those companies that will be there on Thursday, you know, they're good wages with good opportunities as well. A caller says it's fantastic that this job fair is taking place in London, and there is nothing that I'd love more for my son and his family to move back to Donegal. But as we've discussed it's always been housing that held them back. But still, I think the message is get along to it, talk to some of the businesses. There are different ways you can work in terms of, you know, a bit of blended working, maybe travelling in and out of the office a couple of times a week rather than the 5 or 6 days. The companies want to work with potential employees. That's the message that's coming across to me anyway.
The 9 Til Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
FBD doesn't stand for frightening rad dentists, ferociously beating drums, or feline business directors. FBD stands for support. We support business owners in Ireland with tailor-made services from personally assigned advisors. Visit your local branch to talk to your FBD insurance team. FBD Insurance. Support. It's what we do. Underwritten by FBD Insurance plc. FBD Insurance Group Limited, trading as FBD Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Copper is incredible. Sure, isn't that why Alexander Graham Bell used it? It's a perfect connection to the 19th century. Modern life needs modern technology. Cyro has always been fibre first. They get you up to speed with super fast, reliable, future-proofed fibre broadband. Get it through their retail partners like DigiWeb, Pure, Sky, Vodafone and others at cyro.ie today. Cyro, do life different. Subject to availability and location. Oh, lovely.
Sale now on. Hearn Auto, Donegal Town, proudly serving Donegal for over 30 years as your main Kia and Opel dealer, are launching our massive 241 demo sale. Save thousands across our entire range of quality cars, vans and EVs. Hearn Auto's highly experienced sales team are here to assist you every step of the way. Drive with confidence. Drive with Hearn Auto. Visit our showroom on the Killybegs Road, Donegal Town today.
Okay.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenney's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhenney's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhenney's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
Very keen, wasn't I? Overall, dry to begin with some sunny spells. Rain will spread from the south during the afternoon, persisting well into the evening, possibly heavy at times. Cooler than recent days. Temperatures ranging 13 to 15 degrees with moderate east to south east winds. Tonight will bring some showery rain, though turning drier later. Areas of mist and fog too. Temperatures 7 to 10. Tomorrow mostly cloudy with patchy rain and drizzle. A mixed day with mild sunny spells in places. Temperatures 14 to 17 degrees. There is some indication that the weather might settle again. Not quite what we had at the weekend, but might settle again Thursday, Friday and into the weekend. A caller says, why are the HSE running over to London to a career events when there is a career embargo and nobody being replaced when people who retire? There's certain positions that aren't being filled within the HSE. There are other positions that are being filled, certainly in terms of home care in the community, a lot of availability in that area. I'm not sure if the HSE themselves are actually at that event, but healthcare certainly is. But the HSE's employment levels have gone up. They are. There's certain parts of that embargo that don't apply. Greg, in relation to the vacant grant to help turn an old house into a home, this grant only works if you've 100,000 in the bank to do the job and then claim it back, as bridging loans are no longer an option. This is not my wheelhouse. I don't know. But I was under the impression that there are some lending institutions in the community that will offer a bridging loan once the loan has been approved. Not the loan, the grant has been approved. As I say, I don't really know enough about that. Maybe it's something actually we can do a bit of a Q&A in that derelict properties, the options there, because I do know there's been a whole series of public meetings right around the county encouraging people to take part in it, and I think there's been a decent uptake, but maybe there are questions there that you want answered if you have a property and you think it might do. So what we'll do is maybe for this week we'll set up a Q&A on that, hopefully get some people in the know on, and any questions that you might have, we will get them answered for you. What's going on in Donegal Town around the Diamond? It's a mess. Even the county team had to do their speeches out at Lidl, not one in the town. Well, the Diamond's being upgraded. And there's a huge amount of money being invested in Donegal Town in terms of traffic management and also rejigging the Diamond, and that work can't it's fantastic that Donegal won an Ulster Championship, but that work can't be timed around that. I thought actually the setup where they had it was pretty good. Big open space there, no traffic, a lot of people crossing the road around the Diamond. I know it's not traditional, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the new spot. Caller wants to know, once county councillors are appointed, is this a full-time role or a part-time role in addition to their day jobs? And if it's a part-time role, how are the appointed members meant to represent the people and have issues raised? A lot of people running seem to have other full-time jobs. I'm not sure how many full-time councillors there actually are. I think the majority are. I wouldn't say they're part-time. They are full-time councillors, but they also have full-time employment or businesses or farms or what have you. I think if we were waiting for people who had no other interests to fill the council, we might be struggling to fill the seats that are available there. But thank you very much for that. There's an important meeting coming up. It's the family forum. It's a family forum taking place on Wednesday, the 15th of May. It's in the Radisson Hotel, Letterkenny, and it is in relation to CDNT management. There's going to be guest speakers there, CNO officers and NEPS and guidance officers for school leavers. We're going to be talking about that in the next couple of hours, if that's something that might interest you or be of interest to your family. But we are going to take a break now for the news and obituary notices. We're also going to be reflecting on Donegal Ulster Champions.
The 9 Til Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The Cope Dunlow's Clothing Department's exclusive Customer Appreciation Day takes place this Thursday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy discounts, giveaways and styling tips from our experts. Don't miss this fabulous event. See the Cope Dunlow on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
At CS Architectural Salvage, you'll find made-to-measure traditional cast-iron radiators, exterior garden ornaments, original Belfast brick, decorative brick, granite cobbles, quarry tiles, natural stone flag, railway sleepers and much more. Log on to csarchitecturalsalvage.com.
Have you got the Bike Week feeling? Bike Week runs from Saturday the 11th of May to Sunday the 19th of May. So whether you want to get back on the bike or try cycling for the first time, Bike Week is for everyone. Enjoy a range of events, including community and school cycles, fun bike festivals and more. Visit bikeweek.ie for a full list of events taking place in your county. Bike Week is funded by the Department of Transport, coordinated by TFI and brought to you by the local authorities and sports partnerships.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House, Burnfoot. Doors open 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €1,600 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
It's time to visit Ireland's newest Lexus dealership, Lexus Letterkenny. With 50 years of experience, you can trust us in this new era of electrification. Experience our all-electrified range, including the stunning ES Hybrid Saloon and our award-winning range of plug-in hybrid SUVs. And view our finance offers, including the all-new LBX. Start your 241 journey with Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Last few places remaining for Brian Adams on Tuesday, 21st of May at the 3 Arena in Dublin. Make sure you don't miss out and contact Highland Radio today on 074 91 25000 or book through the outlet at highlandradio.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with news at 10 o'clock. A Donegal minister has welcomed news that the Creasla Community Regeneration Project has been allocated €12.1 million under the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund. The allocation is part of a €164 million funding package that has been announced for 30 landmark regeneration projects by the Minister for Rural and Community Development, Heather Humphreys. There have been no further updates in relation to a hit-and-run incident in Clonmana yesterday, which seen a man critically injured. The victim, aged in his 60s, has been transferred to Beaumont Hospital for treatment to injuries after he was struck by a vehicle on Main Street. The driver, a man in his 30s who fled the scene, was later identified and arrested. The Vintners Federation of Ireland is calling for urgent support from government amidst ongoing challenges facing the sector. It's been revealed that 37% of publicans are considering retirement in the next 2 years. A recent survey carried out by the organisation shows that 36% of turnover is currently consumed by labour costs, with that figure set to increase to over 40% with the introduction of the living wage. The Vintners Federation of Ireland will hold its national AGM in Donegal tomorrow night. Treasurer of the Donegal branch of the VFI, Cahirlock of Donegal County Council, Councillor Martin Harley, says VAT and excise duty must be reduced to ensure the survival of small businesses.
And I suppose the vintners have called on a few things that they want the VAT rate put back to it went up to 23% as to bring in and come to the country after the 2008 crisis. and they've asked for the VAT rate of 13.5% on foods to come back down again to 9%. So these are two of the things that they looked about. So something needs to happen in the near future.
The Taoiseach says Ireland is a compassionate country, but economic migrants who want to come here should apply for a work permit. Proposals are set to be presented to Cabinet tomorrow around changing the welfare supports for those seeking international protection or who fled the war in Ukraine. That could include reducing payments and asking those who are now settled to make more of a contribution to their accommodation costs. Simon Harris says what's needed is a common sense approach.
It's about being honest. It's about trying to have an honest and truthful discussion in relation to migration. Like, this is a country that benefits from immigration. There's no doubt about that. But and I want to see more of that happen in terms of our health service, in terms of our construction sector. But there's many ways to come to Ireland. And if you want to come economically to work here, please apply for a work permit. International protection isn't for that purpose. International protection is for people who are fleeing persecution.
Well, investigations are underway after asylum seekers' tents were damaged over the weekend. Gardaí were alerted to the incident on Grand Canal in Dublin City on Saturday night. No injuries were reported. PSNI and Derry are appealing for witnesses to a hit and run that happened on Saturday. The collision occurred on the Strand Road at the traffic lights outside Sainsbury's at 10 to 6 in the evening. It involved a black Audi Q5 and a blue Peugeot 308. Witnesses or those who have CCTV or dashcam footage is asked to make it available to police. Ireland needs to make urgent changes to meet its electricity capacity targets. The Climate Change Advisory Council says Ireland's renewable energy generation means significantly below what's needed to meet demand. Although emissions fell last year, that's being put down to increased electricity imports from the UK. However, Marie Donnelly, chair of the Climate Change Advisory Council, says we're all going to end up paying the cost if things don't change.
The electricity sector, the emissions went down over 20% last year, which is very good, but much of that came from imports of electricity from the UK, and of course the emissions don't count for that. The speed at which we are rolling out renewables is not sufficient, not to meet our 2025 target, nor indeed to meet our 2030 target. This is going to cost all of us more money because we're not using our own natural resources to have sustainable electricity.
36 remain without power this morning in Donegal. Over 300 outages were reported today across Carndonagh and Moville. It's off the back of lightning strikes yesterday. The remaining premises affected in Moville are set to be resolved by 1 o'clock this afternoon. Looking now to weather, overall dry with some sunny spells. Rain will spread from the south during the afternoon, persisting well into the evening, possibly heavy at times. Cooler than recent days with highest temperatures ranging from 13 to 15 degrees with moderate east or southeast winds. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back with headlines at 11 o'clock. The Obituary notices this Monday morning, May 13th. The death has occurred of Adrian Thompson, 3 Sparkburn Drive, Letterkenny, and formerly Donegal Road, Ballybuffet. Remains reposing at the home of his father and mother at Donegal Road, Ballybuffet today from 6 p.m. Funeral leaving there on Wednesday at 1:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 2 p.m. Interment in Stranorlar Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on churchservices.tv. Family time from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Philomena McDevitt, 98 Ard McCool, Stranorlar, and formerly from Cumrick, Fentown. Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. on Wednesday in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar, with interment afterwards in Drumbo Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Rosary nightly at 9 p.m. with the family time from after the Rosary until 11 a.m. Donations in lieu of flowers to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Madge Hirrell, Collins, Gortna Yarn, Carndonagh. Madge's remains are reposing at the home of her daughter Josie, Upper Ballylosky. Funeral from there on Wednesday morning at 10:30 for 11 a.m. funeral mass in the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Funeral mass can be viewed live on carndonaghparish.com. Family time from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Patients Comfort Fund, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Sister Anna Doherty, St Joseph's Convent of Mercy, Newton Kennedy Street, Strabane, and formerly of Derry. Reposing at St Joseph's Convent of Mercy, Newton Kennedy Street, Strabane today from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m, with removal at 4:15 to Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Steeltown, Derry, to repose from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Convent Cemetery, Thornhill. Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Cameron White, Rohan New Mills, reposing at his late residence today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral service in Conwall Parish Church tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m, with burial afterwards in Gortley Cemetery. Family flowers only, with donations in lieu to St John's Oncology Ward, Crumlin Children's Hospital, care of Con McDade funeral directors or any family member. The death has taken place of Marion Moore, ní Wiley, Swilly View House, Lurgy Brack, Letterkenny. Funeral from a residence this morning at 11:15, going to Conwall Parish Church, Church Lane, Letterkenny, for 12 noon funeral service of Thanksgiving, followed by private cremation at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers if desired to Medical 3 Ward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Charles William Clark, Redford, Culdaff. Funeral leaving his late home today at 12 noon, followed by a service of thanksgiving for his life in St Buadden's Parish Church, Culdaff at 1 p.m, followed by burial in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of Mrs Ruth Hay, funeral director. The death has taken place of Charlie Flood, 5 Ardcolm Kill, Letterkenny, reposing at the residence of his daughter Hilda Culbert, 8 The Croft, Glencar Scotch, Letterkenny. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny. Burial afterwards in Newleck Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time from 10 o'clock tonight. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to Archview Lodge Nursing Home Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Connell Kelly, Mina Niller Guidor, originally from Creasla. House private before the funeral. Funeral Mass will take place this morning at 11 a.m. in St Mary's Church, Derrybeg. Interment afterwards in Maharagallen Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has occurred of Maureen Temple, Knee Woods, Maharabeg House, Donegal. Funeral service in Donegal Parish Church this afternoon at 2 p.m, followed by interment in Glebe Cemetery, Donegal Town. House private, please. Family flowers only. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Hiya. I was just reading about that awful crash at the crossroads. It was Kate's son who was killed.
Oh, no.
The roads. So many deaths. Colm, look, I'm not nagging, but I've seen you flying up that road. Please slow down. Imagine it was your death notice.
Ma'am, it's grand.
I don't ever want the Gardaí calling here.
Chat to your loved ones about their unsafe driving today so you don't lose them tomorrow. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, the voice of the Northwest, the 9 Til Noon Show, with Greg Hughes.
All right, you're very welcome back to the programme. Good morning if you're just after joining us, and we've another busy 2 hours on the way. We're going to have Significant reflection on the weekend's GAA action. Not to forget the hurlers, actually, by the way. They had quite a convincing win at the weekend as well. But yesterday it was all about the Donegal senior men's team seeing off Armagh in the most dramatic of fashions. I think they were level about 12 times. 2020 full time, and then went on to win. It then went on to win on pens. Very exciting altogether. Some would say exciting, others would say an absolute nightmare to watch. And lots of you just texting in simply, Jimmy's winning matches. And yes, indeed, he is. Hi, Greg. Maybe with the elections coming up, you could find out what's happening with the building that used to be the Chernanog Bar. This must be in Letterkenny. Building work had commenced 3 years ago, but it's at a standstill for the last couple of years. The listener believes it's an eyesore at the entrance to the estate. Residents try and keep the estate clean and tidy and welcoming, but this caller believes that this is an unsightly scene when coming into the estate. Another listener says, hi Greg, do you ever get sick and tired hearing about inflation coming down every month? I must not understand what inflation means. I own a small shop and I can tell you that every single item that has come in my door for the last few years has only gone up in price. That is everything from bread, milk, all groceries, necessities. They've all gone one way, and that's up. Nothing has come down in price. So how can they say inflation is coming down month on month? It's just based on bank rates or what? I must be stupid. Well, of course you're not stupid. The only thing, my understanding is that, so say inflation is at 10% a year, something that cost €1 goes up to €1.10. But if they then say that inflation is falling to 5%, something that costs €1 is going up to €1.05. So deflation is the only thing that would bring prices down. Unfortunately, inflation means that prices continue to go up. It's actually the rate of inflation that is the only thing that's coming down. So as I say, 10%, €1 goes up to 1.10. But if it comes down to even 3%, something that costs €1 goes up to €1.03. And if you multiply that up to a basket full of shopping, you can see why. It's just, I think it really needs to be explained more, because sometimes I think news presenters or analysts talk of inflation coming down as if things are going down in price, but they're not. It's just the rate of increase is slowing. A caller says Ireland needs to join Britain in the Rwanda scheme to deter illegal immigrants coming here, or we will be run over or overrun. It's as simple as that. Well, I don't think it's actually quite simple to join the Rwanda scheme, and perhaps really tongue-in-cheek, Britain did offer Ireland the opportunity to join. Greg, I'm not surprised people have a grudge against candidates in the election when you see how the so-called democracy is being dished out to different parts of the world. The fact that Russia is the big black monster and at the same time Israel is killing thousands of innocent people, including 9,000 children, and America comes out with a statement that it was the Palestinians' fault, and our government lies low for fear it will affect our lifestyle. Yeah, okay, that's that point. Speaking of election posters, Buncrana looks awful with the amount of posters up. No need for the half of them. Unfortunately, it seems that a lot of posters are being ripped down or vandalised, which is unfortunate. You might not like the posters or maybe even the posters' message, but I think they are a part of democracy as it is, and it's unfortunate to see them being abused and taken down and defaced. We'll have more on that a little later on in the show. I remember it was a big story at the time when there was one election poster damaged on a roundabout in Letterkenny, because it didn't happen very often. And now candidates all over the place are reporting their posters being damaged, and we'll speak to some of them, I think, a little later on. One of you guests on Friday said people are disillusioned by our political system, but it's because we, the Irish, have allowed it to happen. The public don't seem to check out party policies or pay too much attention to the draconian laws being slid through, and on election day go back to vote for the same party's government who have little or no regard for the common working population. Another caller says, I'm definitely not voting some guy who's named after the much-needed Bonnegree Bridge located in. Seriously. His posters are everywhere, and we're up weeks before anyone. Who is he and what's his... Okay, that's obviously referencing Senator Noel Blaine there. The original posters were advertising a public meeting, we're told. But that's up to you. That's democracy in action. You vote for who you wish. Speaking of votes, it was quite interesting to note as it relates to the Eurovision, and this is not necessarily talking about the competition, but talking about people's attitudes or what the public really think or what we're told the public really think. And the public vote contributed 50%, a little bit more than 50% of votes to the Eurovision Song Contest songs. And maybe you're not aware, the top song voted for by the Irish people was Croatia, and the second most popular song was Israel's song. So they came out second in the public poll. And across the whole of the EU and anywhere that was able to vote, Israel was third in the public vote. So I don't know whether that's people opposed to the narrative that's out there, whether they believe it or not, or it's a protest vote against their government of the time. I haven't a clue what it is, but the facts remain that the third place song in the public vote across all of Europe and the rest of the world was Israel, and the second place song in the public vote in Ireland was Israel.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 13th of May. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S16. It's game number 20. The numbers are 54, 81, 22, 39, 21, 82, 36, 76, 87, and finally 79. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book. And we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
They say time equals money, so spend your money where you spend your time. No matter what your preference is, Cooney's Home Interiors has something to suit every taste and budget. With our extensive range of home furnishing to fit every room and style, from mattresses and beds to rugs, mirrors and suites of furniture. Visit us in store today and see for yourself what Cooney's have to offer, and let us help you make your dream home a reality. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Huge range, great prices.
Looking for that Hoka experience? Try the new range at bmcsports.ie. New Arahi 7, Clifton 9 or the Eversoft Bondi 8. Step into our safe size experience so you can fit the best trainer for your foot. Let us make your trainer experience the best it can be. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Come along and join David James and the dynamic Highland Radio Outside broadcast team this Thursday at 2:30 for an unforgettable live event. We will be celebrating in style at the newly renovated Kernan Spa Ramelton with an expanded car park and brand new deli and seating area. Expect an afternoon packed with excitement, delicious food tasting sessions and special guests. That's this Thursday at Kernan's newly renovated Spa Ramelton. See you there for the grand celebration.
The 9 Til Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Now we are joined on the programme by Leonard Watson, who is a family forum rep for Donegal North. Good morning, Leonard. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning. Morning, Greg. Thank you.
Right, we're speaking ahead of a family forum event taking place on Wednesday, and it is between 7 and 9 p.m. in the Radisson Blue Hotel, Letterkenny. Promising an update from the family reps, the CDNT management and guest speakers. We'll talk about all of that in a moment. But what is the situation as it relates to the current provisions within the Children's Disability Network? Because the last time I checked, there were close on 40 vacancies in speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, psychology, and this was right across a number of regions in the county. Of course, that's going to complicate access and timely access to these services. So has anything improved in the first 5 months of this year, I wonder?
Do you know what, Greg, I was chatting to you last year and around recruitment, and it's probably myself and another family rep, when we went looking for these jobs, we couldn't find them, and there was a whole kerfuffle about that. But in fairness to the Minister, she got her act together on that. Now, recruitment has gone very well. They brought the whole recruitment thing back in-house. So in other words, the interviews after being done in Donegal, the whole recruitment part has been done in Donegal. So we were getting people processed within probably 3 months, which was great. But we've just seen now, everything's kind of been moved back now towards Dublin again, and we're seeing a rapid slowdown now. Now you're looking at people being protesters in 6 to 7 months. We're now going back to what it was, where it was taking nearly a year to get people interviewed. I know recently there was interviews held, and for the 6 people meant to turn up, only 2 turned up. That'd tell me people just couldn't wait for these jobs to come up. So we need to get that back locally. The recruitment thing has to be back locally. You know, they were doing a great job. And Donegal North, Greg, we're probably at between 80 and 90% staff now. There's other parts of the counties, yes, still struggling, but every part of the county is definitely seeing staff being taken on, and that is down to the pressure coming from the family reps and families on the HSE and on the local politicians to get their act together on this here, because we were always told nobody wants to work in Donegal. Well, we've banjacked that idea on it, because the amount of people applying for jobs is brilliant. Like, now, we're still in certain areas like psychology now, we're still struggling. We now have a psychologist back in Donegal North, where there's still 2 vacant positions. But again, we're moving forward, but we have to keep pushing this forward. Like. But it's just then in other areas, then like in respite, which is a huge thing for families who are struggling. Like, we were at a meeting, we met with the minister last November, and we've highlighted these issues. Riverwalk Respite in Carndonagh has been closed for well over 2 years for various reasons. We were told at a meeting where the councillors and the TDs were at with HSE and ourselves in February, that was a good one, that this would be open in May, and it was just down to getting a nurse put in place. I came out of that meeting and I was chatting to somebody from the HSE. They told me it wouldn't be open in September, and I was kind of shocked. And I said, well, we're not being told that. I'm telling you, that's not open in September. I got a letter from the HSE there last week. It's not going to be open in September. So I don't know. I just feel a bit let down. As you know, would have been disingenuous. And within that letter, they said it's down to the recruitment embargo. They never told us at that meeting that the respites came under the recruitment embargo, which is, again, I think is ridiculous. Like, you know, this is an essential service for families throughout the country. So it's back again that Letterkenny, and this is no disrespect to the rest of the county, Letterkenny is now providing most of the respite for the whole county. And with a week on, week off, adults to children, there's very few getting respite, and it's a lot of pressure on Ballymacoo.
Yeah, it is.
We came up with an idea that could somebody go out and look at, like Ballymacoo building, it's a huge building, and again, you people going in there with complex needs. Some people go in there and there's maybe only one person on over a weekend, because again, they're complex needs, you know, they can't have other people maybe around them. We came up with the idea that maybe could go out and look at the building and could be segregated off into maybe 3 or 4 like apartments, and that was agreed that they'll go and look at it last November. Up until last week, nobody has come from estates. Estates would be people who look after all the buildings with HSE. Nobody from estates has been near Ballymacoo. So there's, as I say, in recruitment then, there's positives, but there's other parts we're still, we have to keep the pressure on, and that's why these forums are so important, that people can come and their voices be heard, like, you know, where they're struggling, you know, what the struggles is, you know, because we will have CDNT management there, like, and we would have a good relationship with our local CDNT manager, and we do work well, but we have to keep the pressure on to get the service that these children need.
It's kind of worrying. I think it's kind of worrying when you talk about sort of the CDNT supports, and then also the situation as it relates to respite, and then education, because there's a couple of stories that are about today. Firstly, of course, I presume there's been no change in Minister for Education, Norma Foley. She has changed the criteria for the allocation of special education supports for students. That's incredibly worrying for an awful lot of parents. The Irish Independent has a report out today which shows that special schools are in crisis. Their investigation reveals hundreds of children without places as demand soars. And then we learn that across the board, primary school funding is being slashed by €16 per pupil nationally, which is a big chunk that probably is going to have to be made up by parents down the line. But as it relates to the school population as a whole, but also children with special needs, there's no good news around today. And then when outside of the school situation, where you're looking for respite for families, but also early intervention to try and best ensure these young people get the best chance possible. It's not a pretty picture, Leonard. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just looking at literally what's in the news today. It's just not a pretty picture.
I heard a figure last week. I heard a figure last week. There's 23 children in Donegal that have not got a school place, and they vary on complex needs. But there's 23 children as of last week have no school place for September.
I just wonder what those figures will look like when the changed criteria for the allocation of SNAs to students. I just wonder what that's going to look like in August, September, October as we head into the new year as well. The figures might not look as bad as they actually are in reality, because children that need a particular attention aren't going to be getting it.
But Greg, at the end of the day, if a child needs an SNA, that it's there for two purposes: to help that child, but also to facilitate the teacher to be able to teach the rest of the class too. So without the help of SNAs, and the classroom doesn't work unless you're in a special school like Little Angels. And again, Little Angels, new building, not ready yet. We don't know when it's going to be ready, but it's going to be too small. There's going to be a waiting list for Little Angels. So this is a school. It's going to take a couple of years to build, and we're going to be putting children back into cabins up on the new site because it's totally oversubscribed. It's only school that's a school that's covering nearly the whole county, which is, again, it's impossible to work with. You're not giving people the tools to help these children have the best life they can have.
There are thousands and thousands of people directly and indirectly affected by some of the issues we've been talking about. You hope they're well represented, I'd presume, at the Donegal North Family Forum taking place on Wednesday between 7 and 9 p.m. in the Radisson Blu Hotel. As you say, a whole range of experts. Anything else happening at that forum that you think is important to mention for potential attendees?
Well, Greg, the fact that the SENO office, SENO office is really, it's the person that gets the school ready for your child coming. The SENO officer, the NEPs, and then the guidance officer, and from a personal level, the guidance officers for school leavers. Well, we went through that process last year. Absolutely brilliant. It just takes the pressure off wondering what is coming after secondary school. So again, any families out there that are worried about their children going to school, within the school environment, or looking at school leaving, it's a good meeting for all that. But again, it's a meeting to come along and voice your frustrations or bring your questions, because you have CDNT management there, and we usually have therapists in the room too. They're all very good at that. They come and kind of show their support too. So again, as you said, it's 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the Radisson Blu Hotel tomorrow night, and we just asked anybody who's involved with CDNT in the Donegal North area to come along.
Okay, Leonard, and it's important because some inroads have been made, and it's thanks to the mobilisation of parents and guardians. That's what's made any differences that have happened, and I think that momentum needs to be maintained, Leonard, because you can see how quickly it goes back when the pressure's not kept on, and it's not kept on in the conversation's not being happening
Greg,
in the public
can I just
space.
say, we are in election mode, and I'll be asking people in the Nishon area and all other areas too, to ask the questions of the local representatives. Why is Carndonagh not opened? Why has East Donegal CDNT no base? These are the questions that need to be asked. And again, I'm saying we're looking at vulnerable children with complex needs at the centre of this here. So we really have to get our finger out and get this going right.
As always, Leonard, thank you very much indeed. Keep up the great work, Leonard, amongst a whole host of parents, working on behalf of parents affected by the issues that we've been discussing. And it's remarkable that it is the parents who are most affected that are having to be most active in just trying to get the best outcome for their children. It's nothing more than that, it's just to make sure that every child in this country is treated fairly, that every child in this country gets equal opportunity, that every child in this country, children, our kids, that every child in this country gets the opportunity to the best that they can be in life. That's all we're talking about. It's not any special treatment or whatever. It's literally just to try and make sure that every child is treated as equally as possible and has the best opportunities and the best chance of full development, proper development, whatever development works for them. That's all we're talking about. Not anything beyond that.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 Til Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
We're driving the Citroën C4X on Dublin's most speed-bumped road, as voted by an online poll, to test Citroën's progressive hydraulic cushion suspension. The music is coming from a vinyl record playing on a record player set up in the back seat. Here comes a speed bump. Let's see if this record skips. Perfect. went off without a scratch. Book a test glide in a Citroen today. Visit citroen.ie.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who are unable to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
If you know the beauty and skincare product that suits you best, you'll find them at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From moisturisers, cleansers and toners to day creams and night creams, McGee's have the top brands you know and love, like Lancôme, Clarins and La Roche-Posay. Also Elizabeth Arden, Vichy, Nukes and many more. All at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less.
Check out the new summer ranges now in stock at Watson Menswear, Letterkenny. Top casual brands include Mishmash, French Connection, Tommy Bow and Penguin. If you're going to a big event, great formal wear names include Rimazumo, Sixth Sense and White Label, with special packages available for wedding parties. Watson Menswear open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
Okay, let's talk Eurovision now. Rachel, a coach, went over to the Eurovision and joins us to tell us about it now. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Greg. Good morning.
Right, what was it like in Malmo? What was it like in the actually being present for the final?
Oh, it was just spectacular. Now, I have to say, it was our second year I went over with Mary, and our second year attending Eurovision live. And it's really difficult to describe the atmosphere and the buzz in the arena when you're actually watching it up front. You know, when you're in the arena seeing it live, it's a completely different experience to watching it on the television.
Who was the favourite actually in person? Spain seemed to get a huge response, but I mean, obviously, some of the feed that's sent to homes is not exactly what's happening, sort of in the stadium or in the concert.
Yeah, we were actually surprised that Spain didn't do better than they actually did in the voting system, but the buzz around Malmo at the time was definitely kind of directed towards a mixture of Switzerland, Croatia, and in some respects the Netherlands as well, and the novelty acts like Finland, you know. So it was very hard to gauge, but we kind of had an inkling that Switzerland was going to win the whole thing outright, because the performance on the stage from Switzerland in the arena was so utterly breathtaking, between the acrobatics on the balancing platform and the vocal performance was just stellar. So we kind of knew that Switzerland was probably going to have it in the bag.
Through Bambi Thug, Ireland did very well, placed sixth in the end. Could have been higher with a better public vote. How did Bambi Thug go down in person?
Oh, it was just absolutely phenomenal. Basically, the first semi-final that we went to, Bambi performed, and that was our first time seeing it live, and there was a spontaneous standing ovation in the arena from people from all the different delegations, all the different nationalities. So Bambi was incredibly popular with the actual Eurovision fans and the different delegations. And I have to say, we were so proud of Bambi because the performance was out of this world, absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, and people are, I think, what is the Eurovision Song Contest for you? Because a lot of people saying, oh, well, Bambi Thug doesn't represent what Ireland is. I don't understand how people think that whatever artist is performing is actually a representation of the country that they're performing from. Do you know what I mean? For me, it just happens to be an artistic style that was sent over there. I mean, we're not going to stand on stage eating coddle and banging barons. Do you know what I mean? That's how do you define Ireland in 2024? So I don't really think, I mean, they represented Ireland, but I don't think it's a representation of Ireland. And people seem to get confused and politicise it, and it sort of gets into some sort of a culture war area. It's the Eurovision Song Contest. contest, for crying out loud.
Well, that's it. I mean, you have to take these things with a pinch of salt and take them at face value, because all of that, playing fiddles and harps and singing beautiful Collini, on the stage, that's all very old hat now, and that does not do well at Eurovision anymore. I mean, I personally like that as well, but we have to understand that there are different genres of music that people like, and it may not be to everybody's taste. But for me personally, I thought the performance was stellar. And it was like a piece of art or a piece of theatre. It was like watching a music video playing out in front of you. And the mix-up of the different genres in the song actually made for a really interesting performance that went down really well with Europe in general. So I think the days of sending, somebody in an Irish dancing outfit to the Eurovision are long gone.
Yeah, but I also think the days of thinking that a global or European-wide audience thinks that is Ireland in a 3-minute performance, that people are sharper than that. What was the reaction in person to Israel? Because what we got, obviously, was a manufactured sort of response. But did they get more love than you were expecting? No love? I don't know.
No, there was a lot of tension, I have to say, around Malmö in general and in the arena, and there was a very heavy police presence there. We had snipers on the roof and armoured vehicles, and you only had to walk 2 steps to encounter a cluster of policemen, and they had been drafted in from Norway and Denmark as well. So we were a little nervous about it, but we were adamant that we wanted to actually go there and boycott Israel in person by leaving the arena and doing a silent, peaceful protest. But when Israel actually performed, there was an awful lot of booing. Like no violence kicked off. There was no scuffle in the arena or anything, because the security had been very tight. There were no bags allowed or anything like that. But when Israel actually performed, there was a very, very audible booing going on.
Okay, well, just stay where you are, because I want the audience at home to listen to listen again to this is the reaction that was fed to the audience on RTE and BBC, etc.
Yeah.
So that's very clearly an awful lot of cheering, but you say that wasn't representative of what happened on the night?
No, definitely not. And I suspect that in production they sucked out some of the booing and covered it with canned applause. Definitely.
Right. Okay. Mary Lane's with us too. Is this your travel partner, Rachel?
Yes, it is indeed.
Mary Lane, you're probably sick and tired of listening to Rachel at this stage, are you?
No, I love Rachel. We've just had the best week ever.
I'm sure you
Hello,
did.
Rachel. Hello, Greg.
Hi there.
Mary, what was your highlight of your experience?
Oh, do you know what? I think the highlight was that moment when Ireland qualified. It was nearly out of body. I mean, the emotion, the support. I think what people don't realise is what an enormous love-in Eurovision is when you're there in person. Like, everybody is so supportive and loving towards everybody else. Now, obviously, there was the Israeli situation this year, which kind of makes my statement not quite universal, but by the same time, there's no nastiness either. But everybody's just rooting for everybody else. Everybody was loving Ireland and shouting "Crown the Witch" everywhere we went with our shamrock headbands on us. People were just shouting, "Crown the Witch, go Ireland, we love your song." So then to watch Bambi perform live was really quite incredible. And then when they qualified, there were tears. There were all the tears, all the emotions. To be in the room when that happened was just fab.
Yeah, a caller says, I think the Eurovision has turned into a stage show that doesn't emphasise the song alone. It's about time it's about the stage show and getting a point across about such things as being non-binary, etc. Now, I don't know if there's a non-binary message in either of the winning songs, either Bambi Thugs or the original song. I think actually songs that were good songs I mean, look at France, for an example. France did very well, and that was just pure vocal. So I think it is still a song contest, Mary. But, I mean, obviously, it's all the campness and the sparkles and the lights and the, men stripped to the waist.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's so beautiful. And, there's an awful lot of people that come to Eurovision to just be who they are. It's so much more than the shows. There is a culture among massive Eurovision fans, which is so beautiful and open and together. And there are still people in countries, in places where people don't feel that they can express themselves and be who they are, and they can come to Eurovision, which, to be very frank, it is a very LGBT friendly environment to be in, and there are an awful lot of people who come there just to be themselves, just to be able to walk around in company of people like them and party and have fun. But the thing is, I'm saying there, party, there's nobody is drunk, there is nobody being loutish, there's nobody being morons about the place in the same way you might get at football matches and things like that. It's a beautiful, loving environment to be in, full of people who are there for music, for fun, for colour, for glitter, for sparkle. I mean, I walked around the whole week in dressed in sequins. Daytime, nighttime, it didn't matter. I was walking around in my sequins top to toe, because I can't do that on Letterkenny Main Street on a weekday.
Are you sure you can't?
Well, I could be persuaded now.
Rachel,
I might start trying.
Rachel, it is what it is, right? And I just what surprises me is, if I wasn't in any way interested in the Eurovision, I wouldn't watch it. But there was actually a cohort of people watched it to be offended by it. To say this is disgraceful, what's going on. But if you put it on in the corner of your room or on that little square over the top of your telly, and also there were people very actively, and I think this is what skewed the public vote, sort of saying, I'm anti everything that's on this TV, so I'm going to vote Israel. That's the kind of reaction we have in society nowadays, Rachel. Now people can vote wherever they want. I would never try and influence any way, shape or form. But a protest at the actual event and the representation to some extent of LGBT people was a protest vote to vote for Israel.
Well, this is it. I mean, you'll always get people who don't like and don't get Eurovision, and that's fine. Each to their own, different strokes for different folks. And we love Eurovision, we love music, we love the performance, and as a stage show, it's utterly spectacular to be in the arena, between the pyro and the tech that's going on, the lighting, the dancing, everything. So for the people that don't get it and don't like it, they're at liberty to turn it off and not watch it. But please don't ruin the experience for those of us that do love it. And I would also say, Greg, that, there will be people that will say, oh, they're disgraceful going over there when Israel is performing, you should be boycotting it. And what I would say to those people is, we went over there in peace and love as ambassadors of our country to represent the Irish fans, to do our best to spread peace, joy and love while we were over there. And we did remove ourselves from the arena when Israel was performing. And I felt it was much more effective to be there in person and to remove ourselves from the actual concert, rather than sitting at home complaining about it and saying you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, people can just switch off their TV sets if they don't like.
I'm a massive fan of people having the freedom to do what they want to do. And to that extent, even I have issues when government overreach in terms of trying to control what we do. We don't need to do that to each other. For an example, I watched so much sport over the weekend, but I didn't watch the hurling. And the reason I didn't watch the hurling is because I've tried it and I don't really enjoy watching it as a television spectacle. So I don't watch it. I don't watch it and go on Twitter and talk about and run hurling down and try and make people that enjoy it feel worse about themselves. But anyway, listen.
Exactly.
That everyone's different, but I think everyone should be allowed to, without harming others, live their life and enjoy what they want to. Right, okay. A lot of people upset on text that Ireland, that Israel finished second in the public vote. Now, just the way that works, the vote is split up amongst 100 people. So Croatia could have got, say, 20% of the vote, and Israel could have got 19% of the vote and still finished second. So it doesn't, you have to dig a little bit deeper into how that vote's put together. But, anyway. Okay, well, listen, Switzerland 2025. Rachel, are you on board? Mary, what do you think?
Oh, we've already provisionally booked our hotels in various cities that have large arenas. So
we're on the ball, Greg.
Well done, ladies. Well, listen, it's fantastic.
We're on the ball.
I'm glad he's enjoyed it, and memories for a lifetime as well.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it's funny you saying about the sports thing as well, because people think we're mad and the amount of money that we spend going. But I think if someone goes to the World Cup because they love football, should they spend the same money doing that?
I would say as people spend as much going up to see Celtic Rangers as you did. Yeah. All right then.
Exactly.
Rachel, thanks so much. Peace and love. Mary, take care of yourself. That's Rachel, a coach, and Mary Lane as well. They are two big Eurovision fans. They had a fantastic week over there and have already provisionally blocked. George says, bonkers, bring back Dana. Indeed, Dana was, but there's another thing too. Dana was completely overlooked, or somewhat overlooked, when RTE were doing a review of Ireland's achievements in the Eurovision. That also, actually, I think is a bit of a disgrace. So there's lots of different decisions that don't make sense in all different areas. Greg, I cannot understand what kind of people in Ireland that gave any vote to Israel. They must be very ill-informed with regard to all the innocent people that Israel slaughtered, including 9,000 children. Another, is it remotely possible that the Eurovision public vote was based on the song and not on politics? You would think. It's possible. Is it likely? I don't know. What do you all think?
We've one planet and it's ours to protect. From repairing to swapping to creating and recreating, learn the changes you can make every Tuesday at 12:30 to live a little greener. Tune into Ours to Protect with me, Donna Marie Doherty.
Ours to Protect is funded by Commission Amman with a television licence fee and is a partnership between Highland Radio and the Independent Broadcasters of Ireland. Check out ourstoprotect.ie for more information.
The Balmoral Show is back and bigger than ever. Come and join farmers, foodies and families for 4 fun-filled days at the Icon Exhibition Centre Lisburn from the 15th to the 18th of May. With sheepdog displays, a new children's area and delicious local food and drink, the big show has something for everyone. Don't miss the agri-food event of the year. Come and join the fun at the Balmoral Show, sponsored by Ulster Bank, from the 15th to the 18th of May. Book your tickets online now at balmoralshow.co.uk. See you at the show.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Raymond Sweeney here to introduce you to heat pump tumble dryers. With these dryers you can save up to 50% on energy use, enjoy softer clothes, and thanks to advanced sensor drying technology, you will have wrinkle-free laundry every time. Upgrade your drying experience today with a heat pump tumble dryer, now available at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or the shopping centre Dunlow.
Are you ready for something new? Join us at iMotors for our spectacular 242 event happening from May 20th to 26th. We will be unveiling the latest models from Kia and Nissan. Get ready to experience new technology, sleek designs, and unbeatable offers on our brand new vehicles. Don't miss out on this exclusive event. Mark your calendars and come see us at iMotors Drumkeen.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Okay, rain will spread from the south during this afternoon, persistent well into the evening, possibly heavy at times too. Cooler than recent days, temperatures ranging 13 to 15 degrees. Father Paul Farron is administrator at St. Eugene's Cathedral in Derry and joins me on the programme now. Father Farron, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I am doing good, and it's the start today, isn't it, of a very busy week. Tell us what's happening.
Yes, we have our annual St. Therese Novena in St. Eugene's Cathedral this week. So we were up this morning for our first 6:30 Mass, and then we had Mass at 10, and we have evening devotions every evening, and we have a guest speaker coming each evening. And guest singers as well.
Yes, indeed. And a wonderful lineup of speakers. Sister Lucia, I know the Pope has spoken of Sister Lucia, is amongst, a fantastic list of speakers.
Yes, we have on Wednesday night Sister Lucia speaking, and she's actually a remarkable nun. She has stayed in Ukraine on the front line to minister to people who have stayed and also to the soldiers there, and her bravery and her faith have been recognised throughout the world now. So she's coming on Wednesday. Then we have another nun this evening who's Sister Gilchrist, and she's from America, but she came from Norway, and she's a Trappist nun, and they very rarely get out of their monastery, but she's coming to speak because she had a wonderful experience about the will of God and how to do God's will and how God makes all things good. And in fact, her experience was so wonderful that when she wrote about it, Pope Francis commented on it. So she's a remarkable lady too, and she's coming to us tonight.
I think that Sister Gilchrist is the person I was speaking of, that the Pope may have commented on. And also different types of conversations as well. Tomorrow evening, Keith Graham from the Waterside, he will speak.
Yes, Keith is going to speak just about his journey to Catholicism, because in adult life he chose to be a Catholic, and he is now a member of the Catholic Church, and he's going to speak about what brought him to that point, which again will be wonderful, because often people are born and reared in the Catholic faith, and it's wonderful then to hear somebody speak about why they felt called to be Catholic in their adult life.
And also on Thursday, another interesting conversation from Joseph Kim, and his, which I can imagine is a very interesting story.
Yes, he's a remarkable story. Joseph Kim was born in 1990 in North Korea, and he lived through the famine in the 90s in North Korea. In fact, his father died of starvation, but he escaped from North Korea, which is a very rare thing to do, and he escaped on foot, and he crossed into China, and then eventually he made it to the United States. But Joseph met a man. He wrote a book called Under the Same Sky, and it's a wonderful book about his early life and his escape. And he met a man in North Korea who actually had got to China but was caught and sent back. But the man said to him, he said, if you get to China, he said, find the Christians, because they will give you money. And Joseph never heard of a Christian at all, and he said, well, what are Christians? And the man said to him, he said, oh, they're strange people. They give money to people they don't know. So, but Joseph was so taken by Christianity that he in fact became a Christian himself. You know, so there's a great witness to faith and to the will of God right throughout the week, and there's also a great community spirit, and with the different people, like David James will sing tonight at the ceremony, and we have the Pink Ladies Choir, we have the St. Eugene's Cathedral Choir, we have the McGinley School, we have our own folk choir, St. Mary's College, all different groups and choirs coming to sing, and there's a great spirit of joy. And I would say, like, it's miraculous that we've got these speakers, literally miraculous, and I think that it proves that there will be great miracles here this week too.
What from previous events do you hear from those who attend? I mean, you talk of joy. There's a mass also too on Saturday at 10 a.m. celebrated for all of those who died. So there's an option throughout the week too for healing.
Yes, it is a time for healing. Like many, we all carry our own cares and our worries, and I would say there's nobody in the world that doesn't need a miracle. And it is a time where faith is celebrated and where there's a confidence in our faith, just like St. Therese of Lisieux, who told us, you know, when you're praying, only ask for the impossible. And it actually makes sense, because we can do the possible ourselves, but it's God we need if we want the impossible, and that's miraculous. And people here, they come in their hundreds, and there's a real, you can feel the faith and the joy, and the healing that comes, and burdens are eased here, and it is because of the act and the will of God.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, because of time and because of such a busy programme, we've only been able to speak about a certain amount of things, but you've talked about lots of stuff that's happening over the week. Father, is there a place that people can go sort of to find out what's happening over the course of the week and maybe see what fits with their times?
Yes, they can go to the St. Eugene's Cathedral web page or the Facebook page. They can contact the cathedral by just calling us on 02871 365 712 and just come to the cathedral, come to the early morning Mass at 6:30 or come at 10, come each evening at 7:30. And we also have confession, the sacrament of confession on demand this week. There's a bell at the confessional. If you ring the bell, a priest will pop up and free you from the burden of your sins. So we're here to serve, and we're here to allow God's healing and peace to enter into people's lives, and we welcome everybody and anybody. Okay, and obviously a great deal of organisation and things coming together with I think you've referenced yourself, Father, divine intervention required to make it so. Hopefully those like yourself who've spent so much time putting effort into this are able to not relax, but just have the space to enjoy the week now that all the hard work hopefully is done. Yes. Hopefully. I know it's great. It's a wonderful week. It's a blessing to have it. Okay, Father Paul Farron, thank you very much for your time. Greatly appreciated. Not at all. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye. Father Paul Farron there, who's the administrator at St. Eugene's Cathedral, Derry. It's a busy week of events and some very interesting speakers. You can go to St. Eugene's Cathedral website to get more information. We'll actually maybe try and dig out that link and put it on our social media too, in case that's easier for you just to click through.
The 9 Til Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
At CS Architectural Salvage, you'll find reclaimed white plank floorboards, polished beams, pine and oak beams sawn to customers' requirements, and waxed finish, Belfast street lamps and garden furniture. CS Architectural Salvage, Campsie Industrial Estate, Eglinton. Call 04871 812 999.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca, and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors, Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
Take your big offers at Fabric World Maydown Derry. Euro for pound or free lining on made-to-measure curtains. And 2,000 metres half price or less added to their outlet. Crazy offers for May only. And they're open bank holidays at Fabric World Maydown Derry.
The blockbuster production of Wicked returns to the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre Dublin, featuring Oscar and Grammy Award-winning music. Highland Radio are not missing out. Join us on Friday, the 9th of August, as we take part in the magic. Your place includes luxury transfers, overnight stay in the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin, and your ticket to the show. Call us today on 074 91 25000 or book your place through the outlet at highlandradio.com.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 Til Noon Show, with Greg Hughes.
Okay, it's just turned 11 o'clock. We're going to be reflecting on Donegal, their victory on Sunday in this hour, so stay right where you are. But let's kick it off with news headlines, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Creasla Community Regeneration Project has been allocated €12.1 million under the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund. The allocation is part of €164 million funding package, which has been announced for 30 landmark regeneration projects across the country by Minister for the Rural and Community Development, Heather Humphreys. The centrepiece of the Creasla plan is a new community centre, which will include extensive sporting facilities. There have been no further updates in relation to a hit-and-run incident in Clonmany yesterday, which seen a man critically injured. The victim, aged in his 60s, has been transferred to Beaumont Hospital for treatment to injuries. The driver, a man in his 30s who fled the scene, was later identified and arrested. The family pub is at risk of becoming a thing of the past. It comes as 84% of rural publicans say family members have no interest in taking over the running of their pub, with 37% of publicans considering retirement in the next 2 years. Treasurer of the Donegal branch of the VFI, Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council, Councillor Martin Harley, is calling for a similar system for passing on pubs to family members to that which is in place for farmers. The Taoiseach says Ireland is a compassionate country, but economic migrants who want to come here should apply for a work permit. Proposals are set to be presented to Cabinet tomorrow around changing the welfare supports for those seeking international protection or who fled the war in Ukraine. That could include reducing payments and asking those who are now settled to make more of a contribution to their accommodation costs. Cuts have been announced for primary schools this September. The €16 per pupil decrease comes a year after the free schoolbook scheme was introduced. The reduction from €96 per child to €80 per child is reportedly down to the funding for the scheme being front-loaded last year. And finally, Letterkenny University Hospital is the third most overcrowded hospital in Ireland today, with 36 patients waiting for a bed, according to figures released by the INMO this morning. 29 of those are located in wards, while the remaining are in the emergency department. University Hospital Limerick is the most overcrowded again today, with 85, followed by Galway at 42. That's all for now. We'll be back again at 12 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Thank you very much, Donna Marie.
If you're not with Energy, chances are you're paying more than you need to for your electricity. As Ireland's newest energy provider, we offer Ireland's cheapest electricity rate, saving our customers up to €500 per year. So if you want to pay less for energy, simply pay a visit to unoenergy.ie and sign up for big savings with smaller bills. With Energy, you just know. Energy fixed discount rate EAB €1415. For T's and C's and rates, see unoenergy.ie. Suppliers' pricing may change.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. And we are going to reflect now on what was a fantastic day yesterday. That was Donegal winning Ulster Championships. The sounds of it for you on the radio were brought to you by Eugene Kelly, who's with us now. Hi, Osh.
Good morning, Greg.
All right, so what a fantastic experience.
Fantastic experience. It was great to be there, great to be part of it. It was a thrilling Ulster final, to say the least, but Donegal have pulled off this year what nobody was thinking that they could do this time last year, Greg. There's been a 360 from where Donegal was such a low ebb, losing to Down in the Ulster Championship.
360 means we go back to where we were.
Oh, 180, yeah, well, okay then. You'll keep me right. My head's a bit fuzzy today. So it is. It was a long commentary yesterday. It was a long commentary yesterday, but listen, it's fantastic. It was great to be part of it. There's Davy coming now. He's late as usual. His timekeeping is the worst. Greg, I'm constantly giving out to him ahead of matches to be in time to do this.
Why can't you get anywhere on time?
He literally walked down the front door of the building and in here.
High demand. Well, excuse me.
You know, I can't help it.
We are ever a Hain here.
Sorry, I know.
There's no high demand.
Shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
But it's good.
Yeah. Right, okay.
I have a wee day job that I do.
I know that, Brendan. Don't get all sensitive now all of a sudden. God, you got this far not being sensitive. We'll come back to you, Oisin. Well, the 2 years, you can chat back and forth as much as you like. So, Brendan, what unpack yesterday?
Yeah. Listen, if it was a normal match, extra time and penalties, everything was in it. I think probably in the first half when we were reflecting, because we come back so late last night, I'm still digesting what happened, and we thought the first half would be maybe like Tyrone, a bit cagey. it was unbelievable. Scores everywhere and high quality. And I think the second half did get a bit cagey then, but there was just something about our lads, even when we went 4 down. I don't know, I was saying to Oisin, we'll still come back. But, there's something in us, and someone comes up with brilliance every time. There's so many players that have that moments of brilliance, and we kept getting it.
A lot of the time it seemed like we had to work much harder for our scores than Armagh did.
Yeah, they were definitely stripping us, and I was saying in terms of turnovers, when we got inside there 45, there was a lot more turnover from their side to ours. So there were so many things in it that, you would say from an Armagh perspective, a few times they had us maybe where they wanted us, 4 points up, 2 points up in extra time as well. Even 2 points in extra time was a massive lead.
Yeah.
And you had the Darrow Boyle point, you had the Niall O'Donnell 2 points when we were 4 down, and Dara's point, and then of course Owen Doherty's.
When they went 4 up, that was the time that they should have really went for it, and they didn't. I think not that they started to panic, but they went into themselves a bit 4 up. And that allowed us to come back, and we never panicked at all. We just stuck with the game plan, kept going with it.
With the game plan, because there was periods of the game where it seemed we lacked a little bit of a plan.
Yeah,
if you know
that happens, you get phases in games.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep that going for
the conditions as well.
The conditions that you have. Greg, I'm sure you got wet yesterday, so you did. But there was a torrential downpour. And at the end of the first half, so conditions played its part. Maybe played its part in them turnovers as well. The surface was greasy and the ball was greasy, but yeah, from a game plan point of view, Brendan knows this from doing a bit of coaching, it's hard to keep it up for a full duration of a game, and then you have to add in 20 minutes of extra time on top of that as well. But the way they came back from 4 down, they were 3 down twice against Tyrone the previous game, the first time that there was really questions asked of them this year, and they responded. And they responded again to come from 4 down in an Ulster final, and all the momentum was with Armagh, and Donegal were able to turn that around. And then in extra time, for me, the 2 points in extra time coming back from was bigger than the 4 in normal time, because you've tired legs.
But the extra time was actually more open than much of the normal time.
Yeah, because like we've seen how cagey extra time was against Tyrone. So 2 points when you've got such a short period of time. It's 2 points can seem to be a huge gap, but Donegal chipped away at it. And Brennan mentioned it, the quality of the scores yesterday were unreal.
Dara did that in normal time in the first half. Now people say it's the wrong side for right-footed people, but for a right-footed kicker, but for Dara it seems to suit him. We see him so often in that right-hand channel. But you look at the penalties, Oisin, just looking back, and the first one I suppose Thompson's maybe got a wee bit lucky with, in terms of go down the middle. But after that, the actual brilliance of our penalty takers, and the fact that Aaron Doherty decided to jump Thompson then, he stepped up and said, I'm going to take this. I mean, that shows something about the courage.
Was it Aaron Doherty that made that decision, or was it Jim McGuinness that made that decision?
I think that's critical,
because what it did was it freshened it up, and all of a sudden Blaine Hughes was looking at it going, right, Thompson's not coming here, but it's Aaron Doherty. And the quality of the penalties, watch Aaron Doherty's penalties again. Bottom left.
But once you get down to 5-5, every penalty, the pressure on that is just...
Well, if you look at Sean Patton for the 2 previous penalties before that, he went to the right side and nearly got at it there, Armagh 4th. The 5th one went through his legs.
Yeah.
So it did come up, went through his legs. So you felt, right, there's something coming here from Sean Patton. He's getting closer and closer.
Both keepers in the first few, Oisin, were diving a bit too soon. And to be honest, watching Blaine Hughes, and I said this to you, Oisin, he was way off his line. I think if he actually had saved a couple of them, I think the linesman would have called it back, because he was encroaching.
Yeah, well, and Patton was inside his line. He was moving inside his line, particularly for the last few of our. But the quality of the penalties, it would fit in to any big soccer game in Ireland. You had men that have played soccer at a really high level. For Ireland at underage, like McGee did it. Aaron Doherty was a good accomplished soccer player. Darrow Boyle was an accomplished soccer player
as well too.
And Sean Patton has a soccer background, so that played in. That played into.
But Brennan, back to the game, sort of as a player on the pitch, right? So you 4 down. Historically, maybe we've had spells as a county whereby at that point it goes away from us. I don't know, the heads drop, or Armagh push on, or the opposition push on. But we've done this a couple of times now, and Jim referenced this in games whereby it looked like, oh, here we go. But the guys stuck to it, got back into the game, ground it out. What's happening on the pitch at that point whereby, different to the heads dropping, and the gap widening. What's different now that the fellas stick at it and can claw those leads back in?
Yeah, you'd have to say it's back to magic of Jim. Of course, you want his backroom team and everything he brings, because, you know, as you mentioned, just tactics there. There's so much more elements to it. It's hard to just put it on one thing. That belief in that ball to one, and then you'd have to say, and from the Armagh perspective. And again, Armagh are going to be blamed for losing another big game, and when it was there for them, they won it. But every modern game, like if somebody goes 3 or 4 up, they automatically sit. Everybody does it, but people will be blaming that now on the Armagh mindset.
Why didn't you crack on?
Their game plan was good. They were dispossessing us. They had a kick pass option, got up the pitch, which we hadn't. We never kicked it at all. And they hit some brilliant scores. I mean, Turbot in particular. So you're looking, thinking, you know, Armagh played really well on the day. They had 5 penalties. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. They scored the 5. Normally in a shootout, that might carry you through.
They missed 3 of their 4 the year before.
That's right. So they've improved. So in many ways, Armagh played so well, and yet we still beat them, and you'd have to say that there comes back, and Jim mentioned it after night, training, and in terms of the mental side of it, and I'm thinking just Jim taking the likes of an Aaron Doherty aside, or the likes of Oisin Callan, I think he's able just to make those players stand so tall, because at no point did Donegal wilt in that game. And as I say, Niall O'Donnell, the 2 points he hit were absolutely phenomenal. The first one, he just strode forward outside the boot. I mean, we were dead and buried looking at that point, and we clawed back into it. So I think all that comes. And
he got a bit of space, a wee bit more space at that stage in the game
deeper,
to get those points.
Deep,
You mentioned Oisin Gallen.
Yeah.
What a first half performance!
Like
it was, and the quality of his kicking. It was 5 points in the first half.
Yeah,
wasn't it 5 points? And he kicked one with his left foot as well.
He did everything.
He did it,
and he couldn't.
And Paddy Burns could not handle him in the first half.
This is not a criticism at all, but just people might be interested to know, especially those who weren't sort of there at the time. For much of the game, Ryan McHugh was quite quiet.
But for that reason, Ryan McHugh was obviously targeted because of what happened in the previous 2 games.
That's what I want you to talk about.
Yeah. Well, that was evident yesterday. Ryan had a decent game, but you could see that they were making sure that he was one of the key men that they want to try to eliminate yesterday.
How did they go about doing that?
Well, they were doubling up on tackles all the time, so you could see it. Brennan mentioned it in commentary. Every single time, if it wasn't one, there was another one in on top, and they were hitting hard.
Yeah.
So they were, and the referee McNally, for large parts of the games, decided to let a lot of stuff go. He let a lot of stuff go where other referees. Now he's an Ulster referee.
Yeah,
he's a mono.
If that was a Dublin ref,
that was one of the guys from further down the country that they would have been calling a lot more stuff. But McNally,
I think we got a decent amount of the
50-50. We got lucky, and then there was the Jarly Oak Burns one. Well, he gave that free, you remember, and then brought it in. And then that was absolutely vital at that point. He dived, he got hit, and then he dived on the ball. So he had given us a couple of lucky ones just previous to that, So it's, I suppose, the swings and roundabouts. But the fact that he'd given them basically a score could have been a defensive.
But there's and you can hear it from some of Jim's commentary in that obviously there's a huge buy-in from the players to Jim McGuinness, but he trusts his players, and he referenced that a few times. He absolutely trusts them. He's obviously seen what they've put in and what they're capable of, and it's a two-way relationship that I don't think is often talked about. That Jim has full faith in these players, Brendan.
Well, see, if you look at his days playing, all that he learned through all his life with Donegal and away at college and all the different experiences he had. You look at then the sports science side of it. So he has that performance-related thing. That's why he was taken over to Celtic originally, and that's what he really homed in on. So he has all these other talents. Plus, personally, he's a great lad. I mean, I always said he was my captain at Donegal. Brilliant guy in a dressing room. So every box he ticks, and you're going up against other managers there, and you're looking at them thinking, Jim just has so many things that he brings to it. So then you can imagine that Donegal team, his word, they're hopping off his word. And you look at it last year, players didn't play and things went away. Now this year, any player, but it wouldn't matter where you were in the world, you're coming back to play for Donegal, your life's going to be put on hold because you're going to have days like this. And then when you see that sea of green and gold there yesterday after the match, it was absolutely a phenomenal day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stay where you are, both of you. Mary Coughlan's the chair of the Donegal GAA County Board. Delighted to be able to speak to you, Mary. What a fantastic result for Jim, the team, the association and the fans. I mean, it's a win-win all round.
Oh, well, it's absolutely fantastic. Good morning, Greg. I was just listening to some of the lads there. Everyone's going to start to pull these games apart. But that being said, it's really a tremendous lift for our supporters, our clubs, our all of the coaches that have taught these young people to bring them to where they are at the moment, to Jim and all the management team. And as you know, we really are absolutely impressed about what has been achieved so far in such a very short period of time. I know there was a number of years of a plan, but to reach the pinnacle of an Ulster final and then to win in the way we win was unreal. And then I think we also should mention our hurlers now going to be in the Nicky record as well in the bank holiday weekend. You know, people have put their shoulder to the wheel. Tremendous support from our supporters and also our sponsors, which we also must mention, because without them we wouldn't have the wherewithal to take the teams to where they need to be. But everybody's absolutely delighted, and it was great in Donegal town last night to see all the younger people and all the older people, everyone mixing, everybody in good form, and everybody really, really, really appreciating an evening to enjoy and to celebrate.
Pressure's on you and the county board now. You have to meet any demands that are coming your way from the team, do you? I mean, the wish list's going to be as long as my arm.
Oh, look, we have a plan there. We've agreed a plan. Look, the resources and the support has always been there and will continue to be there. I enjoyed the captain and Paddy's little quip there. Just a little bit of a hint now, because we're going into a very tough campaign now. We have a number of games. We have Tyrone at home. We're away to Cork. So when you look back, they've been through so much. They've had such difficult and strong and competitive and athletic games, and now we have to start all over again in 2 weeks' time. It makes you think about what's the capacity of everybody. It is a lot on our young people. But look at when you see them, when you see what they've been able to do when they've come back from 4 points down, other guys will put down their head. They actually drove it harder, and it's just shown the capacity of a lot of young players who haven't had a huge opportunity. Some of them may never have had an opportunity to be in Clonus.
And also, too, finally, Mary, you talked of the success of the hurlers, and we're going to talk about that too in a moment here on the show, and the success of the men's team yesterday. What we can't measure really is the trickle-down impact this has. Invigorating a new generation of players. Maybe the fella or the girl who skipped training because they couldn't motivate themselves now will be back at training for the next session. Do you know what I mean? Like this type of a result, this type of a buzz trickles down. It's hard to measure it, but it certainly will have a huge impact on the association across all areas.
It'll rejuvenate it. There's no two ways about it. Look, being able to participate, to be able to get on your club team or your school team, to be able to then go on and get through development squads and then go on to wear the Donegal jersey. That is it's a huge commitment. It's commitment for young people at a very young age. But I think when they see that there's success available to by participating, I certainly would feel it augurs well for the association. And when you saw all the young people there, even over the last number of weeks, the patience of the boys standing there with photographs and, signing autographs and, that's what it's all about. And that really, gets young people to think, well, I'd be there too. And if you talk to some of the lads that are on the teams now, that's what they thought of when their heroes were winning as well. So, it trickled down. And I think it's also important to say that our ladies are playing Armagh next weekend as well in Clonus. So, as an association, I think we have done a huge amount, and it's about developing talent. And I know the boys probably know more about this than I, but it's trying to keep our younger people to continue in their clubs. When you're 14, 15, 16, it could slightly drop, and then there's that age group of 17 to 20, we want to make sure that there's games for those young people, and that you're not always going to be brilliant the first time you're in a development squad or a team, but you can learn, and coaching is hugely important.
Okay.
And that's where we need to put a lot of our energy and our strength into now.
Very finally, Mary, maybe today's not the day to ask this question and just bat it off, but just listening to your comments, no, don't worry, it's not that bad. Do you think the structure needs to be reflected on at some point? As I say, today is not the day for it, but I know it sounds like you do have concerns that we're asking a limited number of people to continue going back to the well, the same well over and over.
Well, I think yesterday it also shows that we need to look at finals like that going back to a replay, because I think it's terribly unfair. And I do feel sorry for Armagh. They're a hugely athletic team. They're absolutely fantastic footballers. And to lose again in penalties, it's just, it's soul destroying for them and for their supporters and for the GAA in Armagh. So I think we need to review this, and I know the President has looked at that and looked at the format. It's very hard to get the balance between getting our very good players back into our clubs and at the same time supporting our good players at county level. And that's at all age brackets. And this is the pull effect that's there, and it's something that's going to be very difficult to manage. Fixtures, I would say, are probably the most difficult thing to manage when it comes to the GAA. But look, at least we're talking about it as on the basis that we've had success, and the lads have only got a short period of time now to get back and to be ready for Ballybofey.
Yeah, not a handy tie against Tyrone. Okay, then. Thanks, Mary. Have a good evening. Thanks very much indeed for that. I appreciate your time. Lads, just in relation to... Well, we'll come back to the structure. There's one journey I followed through this, and it sort of came full circle yesterday. And this is no way a slight against people who have to ask questions. I have to ask questions and all this. But it was Paddy McBurty's story, right? And you've had you've had a very friendly tete-a-tete interview-wise with Paddy. Is that he had to come out when things were going absolutely crap.
Yeah.
And defend the team, to defend the players, sort of defend what they thought they were capable of. Even when we all thought, right, this is an S show, there's no way back from this here. And then to see him up there on the steps with that cup above his head and being able to give a victory speech like that there, I'm not saying it's a vindication for him, and it's not a criticism of anyone who has questions, because we have to, but there was something special about that.
He was a major player in the journey and the story. He was the guy who went to see Jim McGuinness when Donegal was put out of the championship last year. There was him and a group of senior players led by Patrick at the time. So you have to give him credit for that. And it's probably one of those most proudest moments in a Donegal shirt yesterday when he led Donegal to an Ulster title. He had full belief in the group of players that was there, and he knew that if the right man was at the helm and Jim McGuinness was there, that they would be in with a shout, and he was vindicated on it yesterday, so he was. There's no doubt about that. And he's playing the captain's role. He led out the team yesterday. Patrick hasn't started all the games this year, so he hasn't. He's played his role on the side. He came on and then was taken off yesterday as well. And listen, he knows how to be a major team player. He walked the team around in the parade yesterday. For the first time, those 16 players, I think,
still
and the parade.
Talk,
still took the huddle talk, still done all of that, and then his place on the starting lineup on the pitch was taken by Owen Ban Geller. So he very much is the team leader, very much is the team player, and when you go back 12 months to where he played his part in asking Jim, as we said.
Your reflection on that, Brendan?
Yeah, listen, I suppose you go back to last year, he was quite bullish when but it's that balance, I suppose, Greg, if you have to ask people questions.
No, there's no 100%, because I wouldn't even be able to say that if you weren't.
So, vindicate is one thing, but I guess at the time, he is a different type character, so to him, he just seen we want the best for Donegal, and obviously at the time that wasn't really happening, and so that conversation needs to be had.
Of
no
course
more than
it does,
the positivity of now. So in many ways for him, and I said it to him yesterday, you've seen so much in football now, from being a minor, getting his first senior start on the same day with Jim back in 2011, all the Ulster finals he's seen, and now to go up and captain them, and particularly after last year. And I suppose for him personally, reaching out to Jim, he's probably thinking, right, I have only so much time left. I don't want to finish it like the way it was last year. I want to get back to the top and compete. So listen, I thought he gave a great speech yesterday. He had a great point when he came on as well. And Oisín's right, his role has to change, and that's the course of time. And the game is so highly energized.
He knows that too.
Yeah,
so you're
Jim's thinking
knocking
now,
heads with him.
Send him in now, and a wee bit like Tyrone. Send him in now when the game's at a certain stage, and he still has that experience.
We wouldn't have won that Tyrone game, the semi-final, without him.
Of course, 100%.
Like he made a huge impact in the.
I don't think that bothers Oisín anymore, because years ago when I said it to him, it must be strange watching in now, but I think now the squad is so people are coming on and off. It's not like it used to be. If you were taken off years ago, it was like obviously and then play badly. You can go back on now. This can happen. So it had a different world in terms of the squad. Now is so much more important. I mean, when I played, you think about us, he was the starting 15 really. You think back to the All Ireland at 92. You might have threw on an odd sub or whatever. Now your subs, a lot of them will win you the game. And that's what Armagh thought. And Armagh subs contributed handsomely too, but at the end of the day, it was ours. It was the difference.
Right, on to the complicated, it's semi-complicated now, the next stage of the All-Ireland series. It's a round robin. Top of the table goes into the quarters.
That's right, and the second and the thirds play off in the preliminaries for a place and the quarter. There's still a lot of games to get. There's a lot of football to come. Still, but we talked about which group would you rather be in, Greg? And you would rather be in it as Ulster champions because you have Clare, beaten Munster champions, or the beaten Munster finalists, excuse me, Tyrone, and you also have Cork in there as well, which seems to be an easier group than
but if you
having
top
Galway,
that group, you don't face your Dublins and your Kerrys.
If you top that group, that's correct. That's expecting Dublin and Kerry to finish.
I know, but my point is that it's quite important.
You're going to have to meet one of them down the line eventually.
But hopefully in the semis.
The way things are going. The way things are going. But as Donegal celebrated last night, there's no doubt about it, and they're probably celebrating today. And you have to do that because they deserve it. You don't win titles very often. We played in 11 finals in 14 years. And it was 2019 was our last title until yesterday, and before that we had 18, wasn't it? And then we lost a couple then before that, and then you have to go then back to 14, which was Jim McGuinness's last Ulster Championship game in charge. He's a phenomenal record in this.
Unbelievable.
Percentage wise, he's probably the most successful Ulster winning manager. Yes, Mickey Hart has won a lot of games, but over a larger period of time. He's lost one match in 5 seasons, and that was 2013.
Brendan,
but sorry, I know I went off track there. We were on about the All Ireland series, but we are in a group probably we would see as being more favourable to us, but that's not taking anything away from Tyrone. They're going to be hurting from the last day at Celtic Park. We will have home advantage. There's a long trek to Cork, the bank holiday weekend, and we should have pushed our chairperson on it because the hurlers are out that same weekend in the All-Ireland Nicky Rackard final, and Donegal are in Cork. So it would be nice if those games were on separate days where supporters could back both sides that weekend.
Hurlers another great one at the weekend,
and the hurlers had a big one. So and then our neutral game's going to be against Clare. You could look at those games and you could think you could be confident, that you'd be going straight, that you could make it straight to the quarterfinals and avoid the prelims. But how much of a toll? This is the other side of it. How much of a toll has an Ulster Championship taken on these players?
Well, how much?
You look at Kerry, breezed through Munster. You look at Dublin. Now, listen, Louth put it up to them yesterday, but Dublin were just strolling along.
Double extra times as well. 3 Division 1 teams.
I know you were actually in the stadium, but maybe you got to see the. Do you read anything from Dublin's performance?
No, not really.
No, I don't think so.
No, you can't.
Brendan, so just from a player's perspective, right? Now, this is not going to be like a club team where there's a week of celebrating here. In certain cases, they'll be back at it very quickly. It's a tough game against Tyrone with more miles on the clock. But as Ulster Championship, maybe is the weight of expectation off? Do you go in and play with more freedom? Do you say, right, we want more of this, let's go all the way? And this is a game where Jim comes into the whole scenario as well. But how does
you had a 3-week break the last time?
Yeah.
So you did. And you had a 3-week break. You had a longer time to prepare for what was then All-Ireland quarterfinals, wasn't it, Brendan?
Yeah.
And then there was the semi-final, and then
the
final.
last year. We owe them.
Yeah.
And they came on their home patch, and I'll tell you, that's the message Jim's going to be sending out.
So that's the motivation.
It was nip and tuck. They came in, 9 points they beat us by. And I know we were after a bit of a run. That was that game in between. And Donegal maybe...
We haven't beaten them in an All-Ireland series in Ballbafay, if I'm right in saying.
They came and beat us, maybe was it 2018?
On Declan Boners, I think there was twice we were beat in an All-Ireland series by them. So they, right. But they will be coming, and they'll be hurting from the last day. And they'll be thinking to themselves that they were really, really close to winning that game at Celtic Park. Maybe if their forward line was a wee bit more lively. Darren McCurry wasn't in the game at all. Derek Canavan didn't have his best game that day. So they weren't firing all sides. But look, these are all ifs and buts, and they're going to come.
I don't think we played overly well against Tyrone. And I think certainly...
It was the way Tyrone was playing the football as well, but Tyrone were locking it down and they were slowing it down, and that was something similar at times yesterday. But I don't think the way they killed the pace, Tyrone just absolutely zeroed the pace of the game.
If you're in the Tyrone camp, though, you don't want to come to Donegal now. I tell you that, you do not want to come, particularly to Ballbafay, and I think that's a huge psychological advantage for us.
Brilliant, exciting. There's a story, isn't there, behind every bloody game? It's excellent. Do you have a show tonight?
We show coming up.
You'll be late for that too.
No, he turns up for that one, the bugger.
Listen, 100%. Listen, looking forward to it. We have to give the hurlers back in the Nicky Raggart final away to Roscommon. These boys just keep doing it, turning up the heat. So fair play to Mickey McCann and his side. We're going to talk with John Goday, Park Hill, for be in studio. We have Cahar O'Kane of the Irish News, and we have Barry O'Hagan, former Armagh star. They're all going to be on the show tonight. Of course, we have interviews right across the board. Myself and Oisin were down in the mosh pit after the game yesterday.
It was chaotic yesterday.
It's chaos down there.
They actually had a barrier round to keep the team in for the celebrations, and I don't think they had enough security on because the supporters all of a sudden had filled up with supporters.
It's so
they
bad.
Appeared out of nowhere.
And part of you then being a player, being a back in there. Like I always think, you want to talk. Do you want to? And most of them are, of course, the lads are sound. You know a lot of them as well. Then some of them are doing different things and all that, and we just, within reason, if you want, do you want it? It's only a few minutes, but I got Patrick actually on the way in, so we got about 7 or 8 interviews, didn't we? So
we spoke to a lot of people. There was a wee bit of editing in some of them because they were overexcited.
I don't mind that.
I had to text us.
I think the unedited version should be made available as well.
There may be a few bleeps, but
no harm on that.
It was funny because Clonus is a disaster, as everybody knows. People probably send videos trying to send out messages, forget it. I was trying to email back. Oisin was like, just WhatsApp it to me, because WhatsApp, we can get it.
Whatever it is, the signal's very poor, and Clonus
and as you leave, then it's just howls everywhere, and I'm sending away at this message. I'm like, come on,
brilliant stuff. All right, you're live from 7, just
7
after the
o'clock.
news.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant stuff. And there's a wealth of stuff up on our website as well too. By the way, you won't miss a thing, lads. Brilliant coverage. But isn't it great to be part of?
It was great buzz.
It's one of those. You were standing beside him, Martin McHugh, at the end of the match yesterday. He was getting very emotional. Martin McHugh's a seriously proud Donegal man, and I remember him at the end of the Down game when we went out of the championship last year. He gave this passionate speech, and the then chairman Fergus McGee spoke about it on numerous occasions, and Donegal had to change their tact and plan, and they had to get Jim McGuinness, and it was all coming off the back of this. And we've seen that, how proud a Donegal man he was again yesterday. And he says that one yesterday was right up there with some of his most memorable days for Donegal, because the county was back together again. Everybody, players, supporters, county board, everything was all as one again. And it's days like that you have to celebrate, because they don't come around too often, and they mean so much when it happens as well. You could see that with Martin yesterday. So you could, at least we had the arms around him as we were looking down, chatting away at the end of the game. We're starting to get caught up ourselves here. We were like,
we had Martin McHugh dancing and everything.
We didn't have a camera on him at the time. Nobody was.
There was some brilliant exchanges. I saw 1-2 between.
Well, Mark McHugh nearly wrecked the press. Mark McHugh was working a wee bit over from us.
Yeah,
and he nearly tumbled the whole press area. When the penalty was saved, obviously he came over to greet his dad beside us.
I delighted for Ryan. What a great house, another Ulster medal in.
And I think Jim McGuinness, there was a couple of crucial points where he went over and had a specific word with Ryan McHugh, obviously seeing the importance of his influence and leadership. And
Ryan's been fantastic this year. You have to give him credit for it. He was particularly the Derry game. outstanding in the Derry game, and he was really good in the Tyrone game. And listen, he was solid yesterday, but he was a marked man.
While he's getting that attention, presumably
the rest of them all have to step up.
It frees up some space elsewhere.
If we start naming names, you may as well name.
All right, okay,
the whole squad, because it's ridiculous. Like that's what I'm saying. Everybody's doing their jobs and playing well, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
All right, listen, brilliant stuff. Thank you so very much to both of you for calling in. You just had to come downstairs.
At least I was in time.
And come here, don't go changing, Brendan. It's kind of cute that you're always late. Yeah.
Is it all right? Not Noisy's world.
All right, back after this break.
Right.
The 9 Til Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
I've been surfing all morning at FlemingLTD.com to find out about Fleming doors, Fleming steel and Fleming coatings and their full range of products. So come surfing with me at FlemingLTD.com. Fleming, 91 48 234.
TFI Local Link, your local bus service keeping rural communities in Donegal connected as part of the Transport for Ireland network. For more on service arrangements, visit transportforireland.ie.
We hear lots about honeybees. Did you know that most pollination is done by wild bees? Ireland has 21 bumblebee species and 77 types of solitary bee. Many of our crops rely on pollinating bees to produce seed and so to produce the fruits and vegetables we like to eat. But Ireland's wild bees are dying, and that's a bad buzz for everyone. Beekeepers look after the honeybee. It's up to us to help the other 98 species. What can we do? Lots. Cut grass and hedgerows less often, let dandelions and clover grow, let road verges flower, let whitethorn bloom each May, and plant bee-friendly trees and bulbs. Visit pollinators.ie for more. Supported by your local authority and the Department of Culture, Heritage and the Gaeltacht.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? What heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build? Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
The 9 Til Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
We're driving the Citroën C4X on Dublin's most speed-bumped road, as voted by an online poll, to test Citroën's progressive hydraulic cushion suspension. The music is coming from a vinyl record playing on a record player set up in the back seat. Here comes a speed bump. Let's see if this record skips. Perfect. Went off without a scratch.
Book a test glide in a Citroën today. Visit citroen.ie.
If you're running for election, let BizPrint take care of all your printing needs. BizPrint's experience can help you towards a successful campaign. Be election ready by calling BizPrint the printers on 9177 955.
Looking for a spark of excellence in your electrical services? Look no further than Northwest Electrical Services. Whether it's your home, business or industrial space, we've got you covered across the Northwest region. With our team of certified electricians, no project is too big or too small. From routine maintenance to complex installations, we ensure safety, efficiency and the highest quality of work. Talk to us today on 083 076 2622. Northwest Electrical Services, where power meets professionalism.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
Buying or selling property? Switching your mortgage? Need help with probate or boundary or right-of-way issues? Gibson and Associates LLP can help. Call 01 2645 726. That's 01 2645 726. And quote PRP5 for 5% discount on property services.
All right, every time there's an election, the conversation comes up about election posters, whether they should be used, whether they shouldn't be used, their location, whether they block lines of sight. And once they're actually up, whether or not they are maintained or destroyed. Seemingly, there seems to be more posters being removed or destroyed right across this region. Right, Councillor Michael McBride's running in the upcoming election, of course, as an independent. Michael, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, you have used election posters in the past, not since I think you became an independent. Why do you not use them?
That's correct, Greg. I had used posters in the past. I suppose once I became an independent for the election in 2009 and for the election in 2014 and the election in 2019, I decided not to use posters. And an ironic thing, the couple of elections that I used posters and I didn't get elected, and when I stopped using posters, I've got elected twice.
Well done. What is your reason for not using them, though?
I have a few reasons. I think number one, the local tidy towns, as here in Letterkenny, they've asked me not to consider not using them. So they say there's always a lot of cable ties left on poles after the elections. I think myself, sometimes the posters are put up in places too, that are dangerous. They're blocking views, and sometimes they get storms there, during election campaigns, and it blows them down. And I also just think the cost of them as well. If you're running as an independent, they're probably a 3x2 posters running at about €12 a piece. So I think that it's a serious waste of money, in my opinion. And I suppose the last part of it is, from what I understand, it takes about 400 years for a cardboard poster to biodegrade. And I'd rather just go out and meet people on the doorsteps and talk to them. It'd take longer, 6 or 7 weeks at canvassing and try and get to talk to people on the doorstep. So that's kind of coming from my point of view.
Would you like to see it still up to each individual candidate or party, or at this point would you like to see them banned? Now, I mean, you're coming from a perspective where you don't use them, but I think you're still able to consider both options.
No, because both that's up to everybody individually. I think whilst it's open to put up posters, the majority of candidates for elections will put them up because marketing will tell you that they do give facial recognition and that you do get more votes. My opinion is, what I would like to see is that LAMA and AILG, which is the bodies that represent local councillors, might put some kind of a proposal to government to ban them outright. And that would mean then that's a level playing field.
But does
for
that
everybody.
not favour the candidates, though, with the machine behind them, the party behind them, the people working on the ground, the ones with the big teams?
Well, I don't know about that. You could look at it the other way and say maybe it's the parties that have more money than independent candidates and put them up as in their advantages. Both you can argue the toss both ways there. But I mean, from my own point of view, as I'd rather see in Ireland that we didn't have posters up. But at the end of the day, until there's a law made that everybody can't put them up, they're simply going to be there.
Independent councillor Nicholas Crossan is with us again, not standing in the next local election, but still time to put your papers in, Nicholas. You're not wobbling, are you?
Good morning, Greg. No wobble from Nicholas. Mind made up. We'll miss it, all right, as I was saying, but no, I'm not doing what. Just great, just congratulations to Jim, the backroom staff, and the Donegal team yesterday. Fabulous day.
It's an election time because there's this week, for some reason, people were able to tie in the Northern Lights to their election campaigns, and Donegal winning Ulster into the election campaigns. Fair play to them. Never miss an opportunity. You you used election posters yourself. What is your view about their importance? And I presume maybe you can lean on, because of your involvement with LAMA, you can sort of lean on a bit of an experience, sort of sampling the experience from across the country. What are the pros for them for a candidate?
The pros for them, as you touched on it there, Greg, the independent candidate might not be as well known as the party person or a new person coming on the scene who wants to run for democracy or for politics. I think it's a way of showing democracy working, that we can put up our posters, get our photograph out there, and tell the people of our area that we're running for politics. And I think it's good. You see, there are regulations regarding posters. They can't go up 30 days prior and have to come down 7 days later. And if those regulations was carried out, and as Michael touched on as well, if they're put up in a safe place, not cutting down on vision lines or anything in safety, that I don't see anything wrong with putting our posters up. Maybe at the present minute in time, I heard somebody earlier on saying that we had a glut of stuff in Buncrana. We have Cochal winning the football matches, their flags up. Actually somebody who was in the Irish Army was talking to me that our tricolour is flying disrespectfully. I've asked for flags to be taken down after a certain time. And look, as I said, Donegal County Council owns all the ESB poles in Donegal, which I was unaware of up to about 3 or 4 months back. And there's no policy on that we can hang whatever we want from an ES, or as I would call them, an ESB pole, and there's nothing happening. But at least with election posters, there is regulation.
All right, stay where you are. Dr. Anne McCluskey is a candidate in the local election area, part of the Irish people, but framed as an independent or as an independent. Dr. McCluskey, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm
all
doing
good?
Good. What's your experience been of postering in and around Letterkenny?
Well, as you say, this local council election isn't my first rodeo. I've been involved. I was elected to the local council in Derry and Strabane, and I was deputy leader of Aintu and northern chairperson of Aintu for a while, but I had to resign because of fundamental disagreements over the way that lockdowns were managed and stuff. Personally speaking, I am not a fan of election posters at all. They're vastly wasteful. They're not particularly pleasant to look at. They're I think, it's really person-to-person interaction at the doors is much more valuable. I'm not sure that anybody changes their voting because they see a picture on a lamppost. And I do think that way of communicating belongs to a century ago.
But is it not useful for someone like you? I'm sorry, Anne. I'm not. You're not based in Letterkenny, are you?
I live in Derry, but I spend probably more time in Donegal than I do there.
But
I'm a couple of miles from the border.
No, I get you, and that's not really the point of the question. It was really where I was going with this is for someone like you then to sort of get your name and face out there. For those who may not be aware of you, postering then is a necessary evil. You put up 25 posters. Do I read correctly that they're all gone?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is the residents of Letterkenny would be very glad to hear that my face was not on the posters. We took an administrative decision just to keep them generic. So the posters are about the message of what the Irish people stand for. They're I think, quite nicely done. They have our logo on it, and people hopefully will associate the logo then with the logo in the ballot paper. So they're not personalised, certainly the ones that I have. People do not need to look at my face leering down from every lamppost. So myself and my brother went down on Tuesday night and put them up. They were high. They were in the appropriate places. They were not on, over traffic signs or anything like that. We put them up pretty high. And I then got a phone call on Thursday night to say that someone had seen people vandalising them and taking them down. And I went down then on Friday to do a bit of canvassing. And every one of them was gone. Now, when I say every one, there were only about 25 posters in all. As I say, our posters are about the message. It's what we stand for in this administrative coalition of independence, which is the Irish people. They were all gone. I didn't check. There were two up at the churches there, up at the cathedral and the Church of Ireland chapel. So there were two up there. I haven't checked those, but I suspect they've almost certainly gone the same
that's okay.
way.
And do you believe, just finally, and do you believe that this was specific to you? I mean, I've heard of some posters going missing.
Every other poster.
Yeah, every other poster's still there. Yeah, go. That was my question.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I mean, this is an interference with the democratic process.
Mm-hmm.
People are either Democrats or they're not. I mean, is this fascism, where now you're not allowed, if you have an opinion that somebody doesn't agree with, they can commit criminal damage at the time of an election.
Okay.
Hugely serious. And to be fair now to the guards in Letterkenny, I went to them on Friday night. They were more than helpful. They share that analysis that this is a crime which will be investigated.
Okay. Dr. Anne McCluskey.
All of those roundabouts have CCTV, so whoever did it, if they want to contact me quietly and return the posters, I don't have an issue. And that'll be the end of it. But otherwise, the guards are going to go ahead and there will be a criminal prosecution.
All right, we'll speak again, I am sure. Sorry to rush things along, but I want to also bring in Rebecca McDade, who's standing in the local elections in the Lifford-Stranorley area for Ain't Do. Rebecca, you are using posters, are you?
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
And good morning to everybody there. Yes, I am using posters because this is my first time to stand as a candidate. I'm in the Lifford and Stranorley area. So I just think that for a first-time runner, it's important that people get to see the face. They know who they're voting for. They can put a face to the name. For that reason, I think absolutely there's no reason why we can't do that.
Yeah, and you say that your intention is to use them. I mean, obviously, listen, there's going to be an impact in the environment, but you maintain that you're going to reuse them so in other words, they have a longer lifespan, which in a way I suppose is better for the environment rather than reproducing them every time one stands.
Yeah. Our posters, the Ain't posters are reusable. And that has been, there's been a lot of money put into that this year in order to make sure that we have them for when we go to run again. I do plan to do it in the long term, so I would like to think that I will be able to use them again the next time round.
Okay.
It's important, I suppose, that Michael touched on it there. Good morning, Michael. You touched on it there about the cost of them, and yeah, if you're going to put money on the likes of this for advertising for you for the election, I think it's important that the money is spent wisely. Just to say that we as a party aim to, because we don't get government funding, so we are doing it ourselves. So we're very much aware of that, the situation there. And I think there was another thing that Michael may have mentioned there too, and maybe it was Nicholas mentioned it. Good morning, Nicholas. I think it would be a good idea for public spaces to be made, or public billboards. That's another thing down the line that could be thought about.
Yeah, I've often said in the past that I don't know why there aren't one or two digital signs on the approach to town, and the candidates are rotated on them, and everyone could have equal access. Yeah. Rebecca, good luck with everything. I'll chat to you again in the future, and of course good luck to Dr. McCluskey as well. Thank you for that. I think we can all agree, finally, Nicholas Crossan, regardless of I mean, obviously unless something is offensive or what have you, but regardless of people's views on things, I think it's important that posters remain up.
100%. Like that is, I didn't know about Dr. Ann's posters being taken down in Letterkenny. That's absolutely disgraceful. We had one burned and one Crana, which is terrible altogether. Like, we are living in a democracy, thank God. But for somebody to go around and deface posters, tear them down or burn them 2 or 3 weeks out from election, I think maybe it's just because people might be making an impact. And other people are afraid of it, but I don't think anybody should interfere with posters.
I get you.
We do live in a democracy, and let's keep that alive.
All right, take care. Nicholas Cross, an independent councillor, not standing again, in the local elections. Michael, finally from you. I mean, obviously, listen, you're going to be very well received on the doorstep. I'm sure every candidate's going to feel like that. I'm just wondering, are you being challenged more this time round than in previous elections? Do you find that, people are maybe go, look, no harm, Michael, you're a nice fella, but stuff politics. Like, what is the sort of sense of feeling you're getting on the doorstep? I mean, you go to every door. You don't pick just certain spots, do you?
Greg, we don't select doors. We try to go to every door, and I suppose every door is different. And we do have doors where people have serious issues, and I suppose a couple of the issues that are probably coming up strongest on this election is obviously the Micah situation is probably number one. And number two would be probably an open borders policy and stuff like that.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have time to dig into that, but it was interesting to get that insight. Thank you very much indeed. I've got more breaks than I have time, more to do than I have time, so please don't go into thinking I'm cutting Michael off for any reason. I'm not. We're going to talk about all those issues over 12 days of debates, believe it or not. For new perspectives and a fresh vision, join me, Greg Hughes, on the 9 Till Noon Show every Thursday at 10:15 for your voice, your community.
If you're aged 80 or over or have a weak immune system, it's time to get your COVID-19 spring boost.